How's everybody doing?
Super
Thursday.
awesome. Super awesome, man.
Super awesome, man. I got a Spinal Tap shirt in the mail today. Guess what? It's like the woman's cut.
Was it one bigger size? Was it a bigger size?
No,
like
it went to 11, and it was but for a woman the size 11.
Nice.
Why the heck do you even know what women's sizes are?
I don't know. I can tell. It said it was unisex when I ordered it, but I put it on. I'm like, there's no way this is unisex. It's got the really, really, really wide neck, and it's tight at the armpits. I'm like, yeah, this is.
You just saw the word sex, and that's what attracted you to
it. Speaking of sex, oh my God, that was so hilarious last night on the new Beavis and Butthead. If you have not seen the new Beavis and Butthead yet, do yourself a goddamn favor. All 12 episodes of this season are out now.
I'm working my way through them now.
And I tell you, I wish I could explain it, but like one of the video cutaways.
When they finish, they're hilarious. How many more of these do we have? I'm 2 behind right now.
There's 12 for this season, and then they're going to do another season next year for another.
All right,
12.
we have to do a 12 episode retrospective when I get caught up after next week.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
Andre wants to do something, but yeah, like this last episode is pretty good, but the cutaways have been some of the funnier stuff for me, and which is hilarious because I was never a big fan of the cutaway music video parts originally in the show. Like, I know most people that was like their favorite bits, but like on the greatest hits stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm fine with no videos. I like just watching the show as a little 7-minute episode and not being interrupted. But as much as I'm enjoying the main episodes in this new season, some of the video cutaway stuff is funnier than the shows, but it's because they're not doing music videos. I think it's because they're doing like YouTube videos. That's the big thing. But welcome, Mike, the Mexican Iron Man and 70s rock fan. Sorry I didn't introduce you yet. Hopefully you gentlemen are doing well.
I am doing awesome. I've had a wonderful day, done a couple of live streams, and just generally relaxed and enjoying myself, so I have no complaints.
Mike?
Oh, well, isn't that just fine and dandy? Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? That's fine and dandy for you, Canadian guy.
How many hot water heaters have you gone through this?
I'm up here in my socialist world with my snow and my maple trees and my pancake.
One day, Mike, you too will get to retire. Maybe 50, 60 years from now.
Didn't you just have your hot water heater replaced, Mike?
No. So for those who don't know, Mexican Iron Man has just had 2.5 days without hot water, but I'm so entrenched in tax season and working around the clock, I just said, F it. I literally had jumped in my pool this morning. That was my morning shower, and because there's still propane in the pool tank. So what happened before is my HVAC system went out, my heating and ventilation.
I swear you had this problem before.
No, okay, hold on. Not the water heater. I had the HVAC system, the air conditioning done. They ripped out the whole house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, and they told me at the time, they said, you might want to replace your water heater. And I'm like 28 grand in at this point. And I'm like, what? How much is that? And they gave me a price. I called around, got some estimates. I'm like, no. I'm like, how much?
See them just trying to dip you for more. I can see.
Right. So I said, how much life left do I have on this thing? They're like, well, it could go 3 months, could go 3 years. So you know what? Mexican Iron Man is a gambling man. I said, you know what? I don't know what's in store. I don't know if that tamale is going to have red peppers, green peppers, turkey, beef. I'm just going to roll that tamale.
Remind me to not let you gamble in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm awful at gambling because if I get moody, I'll just be like, you know what? I'm taking like if I lose like $300, I'll be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go pull $1,000 out and see if I can get it back right now.
Oh my God, no!
Shit. So Mexican Iron Man. I go to the shower 3 days ago, right? I like, or 2 nights ago. When was it? I didn't have hot water yesterday. It was so cold.
Grimy, Mike.
Dude, when I took a shower last night, it was like the water was like 38 degrees. It was like,
Mike, you're such hot stuff. I would have thought the water would have turned to steam just hitting you.
Dude, let's just say.
I can't believe you didn't just go get a hotel room just to take a shower.
Yes.
Well, I did think about that, but
I'm not surprised.
Tax write-off.
If I wasn't in tax season, I didn't have to be glued to this computer. I have until Monday to finish a bunch of returns, so that's why I'm here. I'm here for a break, and
that's how well I know Mike. Any other time, that's what you would have done.
Any other time, I would have been like, "When are you guys fixing it?" Thursday? All right.
I don't understand why you don't.
I'm going to find a place with a pool.
I don't understand why you don't get the rabbit chickens to get on a wheel and they can turn
the
that
rabbit
wheel,
chickens are
heat
useless.
the water up for
Okay,
you.
this is
Train them.
the honest to God. You can't. We don't know which end is up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They eat like crazy. We don't know where it goes or how they consume it, but they multiply like fucking rabbits.
How many legs have they got?
And they got 6 legs and 4 wings.
legs.
They were made for eating.
It depends.
Well,
that's what I said. I keep trying to convince Mike they were made for eating, but they taste like shit.
Yeah, I would have thought cold showers were good for you, Mike. Keep that lust down.
so and of course the way my house was
lust.
the way my house was custom built, I need a certain kind of water heater that fits up the stairs, through the opening, from the roof, blah, 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 blah.
God, you
$2,650 later.
Jesus. So
Thank
now
God
how much would it have cost you to have it replaced back when?
Half
they
of
gave
that.
you half that?
18.8, I think.
Mikey, from now on,
What?
no more gambling.
I don't gamble. That's because I lose.
Clearly.
Oh, ow.
Well, Jesus, like it cost you twice as much to get this.
Wait,
done
but you
now.
didn't. Here's the funny
You
part.
know what's funnier is it looks like you got 2 valiant renegades there working in your house.
So I decided I was going to go to. So I decided I was going to go to Home Depot and fix it myself. Yeah. Oh wait. Well, hold on. This is before this happened. I went to home. So I wrote down the model number. I ran to Home Depot and I swung by and said, okay, I'm like, look, it's home improvement. Here's my thinking, people in the chat. Okay. Here's my thinking. Okay. I'm Mexican. Check. Right. Okay. Home improvement. Okay. Check. Mexican home improvement. So I say Mexican Iron Man says to himself, I can do this on my own. Okay. So I go to Home Depot. I go to the customer service. They send me over in the back to the right. Well, I keep going. It's past plumbing. I'm talking to the guy. This other girl comes up. She's a manager of the whole area. I have pictures of my water heater. I have pictures of how it's leaking, and then I have the model number. I have pictures of the inside. I have pictures of everything. And they're like, okay, and then you need this, and you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And they're like, but you might not be able to fix it. You might need a whole new water heater. So I'm like, well, how much is that? And they had them there sitting there, and I'm like, just give me the parts. I'm going to fix this myself. Well, let's just say that I might be Mexican, but I'm not like that Mexican with home improvement, So I called in the professionals and they came in and saved the day.
Well, if it's a choice between that and burning your house down, then that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
However,
I think I should stick to I'm like not really a water heater HVAC home improvement kind of Mexican. But I figured, I walk into the Home Depot. I see my people working there. I see them in the front. I see them shopping
What do you
there.
mean, my people?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean your people?
What do you mean
the
your
brown
people?
folk? The brown folk.
You know what I love about you, Mike, is you break every single stereotype except for the hardworking one, right? Like, you don't. I wouldn't trust you to fix my water heater. I wouldn't trust you to do. Even lawn work and all that kind of shit that most people stereotypically associate. Nope. Wouldn't let you do it. Nope. Never.
Nope.
I wouldn't let you build me nothing neither.
Yeah.
I bet
Or if you did, I wouldn't trust it enough to.
I made a table, but
I bet Mike can't even play in a mariachi band.
I wouldn't trust him with that either, to be honest with you.
No.
Now, if it's a video game, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It depends on the console.
If it has to do with business, he's all there. He knows it.
Yep.
He's like every stereotype blowed up in your face, except for the hardworking man part.
Yep.
What you mean? Maybe the man part's a bit strong, but hardworking, yeah.
Hey.
Well, as much pipe as this man lays, I don't know if we can really give it
So what Mike, what you're trying to say with this whole water heater thing is that you didn't lay pipe very successfully.
Yeah, wait, what? Hold on. Wait.
No, well, if the water heater was a lady, I'm sure it would have never had a problem.
Oh yeah, Mexican Iron Man knows how to lay that kind of pipe.
He would have seduced it into working straight away.
Yep, I would have given it that smooth talk.
Talked it.
I'm assuming you tried flipping the circuit breaker back on.
Oh, I tried that.
Did you unplug it and plug it back in?
Exactly.
Well, I did.
$3,000 later.
I did a lot of stuff, and then I called for reinforcements, and thank God they had a truck on this part of the island that came right over.
Well, you know what they always say as well. Oh well, this model's out of date. We can't get that part anymore. We're gonna have to put all this new stuff in. That's what they always say.
Well, I've had the issue once or twice in my life where I've had to deal with like no water and whatnot and shit like that. So I know what it's like, and you don't stop to think about how much of a luxury something like running water is. Until you actually have to deal with not having it, or hot water, or no wonder my voice is so low. There we go. Or even like one time we had our this really pissed me off. We had a landlord who didn't do shit for almost a week, and I'll try and keep this short. But we had some really, really cold winters one year. This is about 10 years ago now, and it was our water pipes had frozen up. It had gotten so bad that the water had froze up in the toilet, and there was like some standing water in the shower because we couldn't get it to drain. So, and that had froze up through the pipe. So it was that bad. And we had kept calling and telling the landlord, we have no water, we finally got a hold of the city to complain is what happened. And they ended up giving us a voucher to stay in a hotel for a night while they investigated. And they found out that if she had done something sooner, it wouldn't have been a problem. But now it had been such a big problem that it had froze all the way out into the main pipes.
Yeah, and that breaks shit.
So they had to dig up the entire fucking yard. So here we were again, another like 3 days without water. So here we are already like a week and a half without water. Like this was like a Judge Judy fucking thing waiting to happen. I'll tell you what, but it never got to that point. But that's because I told her to go fuck herself. That was the meanest I ever been to a woman in my life. I swear. Like, just like, I'm like, you are about as useless as an asshole on your elbow. We called you every day, time and time again, telling you we have no water. This shit is frozen. It's frozen up through the pipes. Your fucking toilet's frozen. Like, this is your problem, not ours, bitch. And now you got to pay the fucking city. And then she was arguing with the city. It's like, and the city's like, well, if you'd have took care of this when they called you in the first place, guess what? We wouldn't be here right now. And you wouldn't be a couple $1,000s in debt to the city.
We do take this stuff for granted. And when you hear people moaning and screaming about things like, pronouns, try living without water for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
A real problem.
Oh my God! Try putting
especially
on
when you got kids. Yeah.
What about when you're taking a cold shower late at night at 2 a.m. and your little tinkle gets frozen and disappears on you? I'm like, where'd my tinkle go?
Shrinkage. Yeah, shrinkage.
Forget shrinkage. The damn thing like went into another dimension.
Let me put it to you this way, Mike. It would have been worse, but my parents still lived in town, so that was like at least we could go to my folks and take care of business and all that shit. But yeah, it was rough.
Well, my relatives in Quebec about 25 years ago, they had that big ice storm, and they lost power for 6 weeks. No power,
Jesus.
no electricity, no gas, no nothing for 6 weeks, and it was pretty tough because this is Canada in the middle of winter, and they couldn't heat their house.
I can imagine that part, but I can't imagine not having it for 6 weeks. Like,
yeah,
I can imagine the cold. We've dealt with some cold here in Wisconsin.
There was a lot of propane used. Let's put it that way.
Minnesota and Wisconsin winters are nothing to laugh at.
Oh, you get it bad.
Like you get 6 inches to a foot of ice sometimes underneath the snow in the bad years.
Indeed. So that was a bad one. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time, but it was a particularly bad year.
No, it's been a while. Knock on wood. Hopefully we don't have another one soon, but but you know what? There's more important things to talk about than this kind of business.
Did we welcome everybody in the chat?
We got all kinds of people in the chat. I see D-Bud Martin here, Duck Nation, Shanatsky's here. Tim Hayes is here. I seen Snowdub here. I think I sent him the link if he's not busy. He wants to hop in. Let's see. Gonzalo is here. Yeah, and he noticed my He-Man 40th anniversary figure that I might open up later.
Our friend Alf is here.
Yes, he is. And we got Cryam here. We have Metal Shield Music. We have Ken Jack Ben. I even saw, I think it was Kenny Long in the chat earlier, if I'm not mistaken. And let's see, Tim Hayes was here. Mecca J. Randall Orser's here, who's been new fan of ours. It seems like I see him quite often now. Willie's here in the house. Hopefully you had a happy birthday, Willie. Night of Snoke is here. Let's see here. We've got Cheese Factor. Big Raj is here. In fact, we've got a super sticker from him, it looks like. So we'll get to those here in just a moment. Got Ironcaster, Southern Viking, Professor Gray. Isaac Lemon is here. Hamdinger is here. And this one goes to 11. That's right. And finally, says Tiger Valley. And Morgan King is here. And actually got a notification, which I'm surprised because I didn't set the show up till way late. Yeah. But thank you guys for being here. We appreciate that. Let's see what we got for some super chats here. I see Warachi, Anonymous Gamer, a few other regulars sliding in here. Stephanie's here. Vertical Horizons, Daniel Hall, so many more. Thank you so much. I hate leaving people out. Dalton B, Ezilla. But we have to keep going. Because I'm sure Daniel Hall and some of the others don't want to wait any longer for us to get the show going. So let's do this. Gabe A is another one who I'm sure is waiting to hear about his super chat. Sends in $5. Thank you so much. So, She-Hulk kind of had a similar ending to Wayne's World. Lord help us. Yeah, I didn't finish watching the show, so I can't really comment on it, but I heard it had a doozy of an ending. I think you watched it, right, Brian? Or did you watch it, Mike? I know you guys were talking about it before the show. But
I did not, but I do know what the ending was. It was leaked in advance as well, of course. So
wait, She-Hulk?
Yeah. You watched it, Mike.
It sucked.
Yeah. It was breaking 4th, 5th, and 6th walls, I believe, and ceilings too.
My head over it, fucking 2x4. I said, you know why I watched it? I needed a break, and I'm like, you know what? I'll watch this real quick on my phone. I was like, oh, fuck me!
What I found interesting was that the baddies are supposed to be called intelligentsia, but they keep calling them dumb, stupid men. So either they're intelligent or they're not.
Well, you know what's driving me nuts, though, is the fact that the damn showrunner keeps putting herself in every episode and making sure that, like, the camera, like, looks right, so you make sure you see her. I'm like, look, I'm sorry that you are not hot enough to get a job in Hollywood. I'm sorry that you are not an actual star. I'm sorry that you got this job because you happen to fill some kind of diversity, quote, checkbox. I'm sorry you suck, but suck it up because this is it. Stupid showrunner.
I don't know if
stupid.
Black Ager B, the guy who posted this, actually did this art or not, but this is pretty cool art.
She's a pretty good She-Hulk.
Looks like Simpsons art done very well.
Yeah.
8 times snoo. You like snoo. Yeah.
I think that's where my water heater blew out because I watched
snoo
because of She-Hulk. No,
you blew your water heater watching.
No, the water heater was going out before She-Hulk.
Oh,
it's related somehow.
Somehow. Well, Elf says he got his ticket, Mike. I'm not sure what for.
What are you talking about?
Elf says he got his ticket.
Let me look.
Yeah.
Ticket
says,
for what?
I got my ticket, Mike.
For what?
Dun, dun, dun. I don't know.
Well, it will be a surprise, won't it?
I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with Dallas next weekend.
Or actually, that was making fun of Futurama, but I knew what I meant. Yeah, same difference.
Everyone's going to Dallas?
Well, there's a meetup for ValhallaCon at Retropalooza.
Oh, right, yeah.
And Cod Connection.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Dallas, Texas. Retropalooza, retro gaming, retro IPs from the 80s and 90s at the Arlington Convention Center. Mexican Iron Man will be there starting Thursday night.
It's Arlington, not Dallas.
Like this.
What? It's like 10 minutes away.
It's 30 minutes away if you're lucky.
Whatever. What's the difference to you? You're in Canada. Like it takes 5 hours.
This coming week?
Used to be my home city.
Is there going to be any cool people there, like Robert Englund or anything?
Mike's going to be there.
I like how he asked. He asked me, "Are there going to be any cool people?" No, Tom. I'm going to be there though.
Oh. Well,
there's going to be no cool people, and Mexican Iron Man's going to be there.
Mike will be able to
I didn't know it was like an actual con, or what's the deal?
Yeah, it's Retropalooza. It's huge. It's Dallas. It's retro gaming.
Mike will be able to have a shower.
And then Friday night, we're going to have a meetup. We have our own patio at a free gaming bar with stand-up arcade games
in Dallas, though. No,
Yes, and then Saturday night we're at the Hilton on the second floor, and I'm doing a free screening of Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. We got our own room to watch it. They're setting up a projector and a big screen for us, private screening. And then on Sunday, Mexican Iron Man's taking anybody that wants to come along. We're gonna go pew pew shooting. Pew pew.
You're not gonna go to a Dallas Stars game?
No, we're gonna go to a shooting range outdoor, and we're gonna go shoot some pew pews. Yep.
Mrs. Rock fans.
And guess what?
Mrs. Rock fans been to
and
that
guess
house.
what? Friday night, free. Saturday, free. Sunday, free. Loki and Mexican Iron Man have taken care of everything. So this is a meetup that's free. And it's next weekend. So if you're anywhere around Dallas, find Mexican Iron Man on Twitter. There's a link there. You can register. Registration is free. And Friday night drinks are free. Saturday night Wrath of Khan screenings free. And Sunday, pew pew. I'm bringing enough armory and ammo for everybody, including first-time shooters.
They need to have a Wrath of Khan.
That, you know what, they really do. That is a fucking great idea.
They should. Yes, a CanCon.
Yeah.
D-Bud Martin's taunting me now. They're not the Minnesota North Stars. They folded. They couldn't get enough support. They are the Dallas Stars.
What is it, Dallas? Is that like a hockey team? What is
It's the hockey team in Dallas.
I'm Mexican. I don't watch hockey. Get out of here with that. Hockey. The thing moves so fast. That's like a white people sport. That damn thing moves too fast. Slow down.
Hockey is for everybody.
Soccer's for everybody.
That's what the NHL says.
Football is for everybody. Football. Go!
No, hockey is for white people and natives. That's about it. Let's be real.
Well, and Eastern Europeans and
Eastern and Russians. Yeah.
Russians.
Yeah. And we also have a guest joining us now, a gentleman who hasn't been here in a while, but we're so happy to have back with us, George, the Giant Slayer. How are you?
Doing great, my friend. How you doing, Tom?
Doing good. We're glad to have you because we're going to talk a little bit of Rings of Power, and it's nice to have one of the legends of the internet YouTubes when it comes to that. But Big Raj sent in a thumbs up sticker, I believe. I don't have it in front of me here, but I imagine that's what it is. And if it is, thank you so much, and hit that thumbs up. If not, it's probably popcorn. But usually Big Raj sends us a thumbs up. Yeah, it's a thumbs up. Okay, I got it. And then we have Elf sent in another one. It says, fun fact, Mikey, I live in Dallas too. My birthday and Elf's birthday is this month, so we're birthday buddies. Ha! Don't believe me? Look it up. So he's going to get you. He's going to get you like the boogeyman.
Okay, I'm going to take video. Alf versus Mexican Iron Man in person 1 week from today in Dallas.
I wonder whoever that is, if they've gotten the actual costume from Amazon that I've been eyeballing.
Who's going to win, Alf or Mexican Iron Man?
That's a tough one.
Who's taking bets?
Depends on what it is. If it's lightsabers, Mikey. Otherwise, Elf.
Oh, no. I bet on the Iron Man.
I'll bet on Alf because Mikey will be running away screaming as soon as he sees him.
No.
It's a wild card. I'm not sure who it is exactly. So
yeah, we have no idea who it is. This could be pretty fun. I'm going to take video.
Big dude.
Uh-oh.
Above all else, I bet on Cobra Kai.
Always bet on Cobra Kai. Heron of Alexandra's in the house. How you doing? Says there's breaking the fourth wall, and then there's demolishing it and shoving the rubble down the audience's throat.
That is an excellent super chat.
Said.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
Did you see that? Oh, no. That crap.
Mikey is the only one here who watched.
Oh, no. I watched it because I had done a video on it, remember? And I just wanted to see what the finale would be. Like, how bad it would be. Worse than I could imagine. It's like they had a scene. I'm not going to describe it. It looked like their version of what they thought YouTubers were talking. It's like they had this little circle of guys where they're like, woman, feminist, that kind of.
So they really were making fun of Doomcock last week.
Oh,
I think
the last episode they were. No, there's no way they were. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because it was whatever they were called, the bad guy that they modeled after Doomcock. What is it, Invincible or Inconceivable? Whatever.
Intelligentsia.
The Intelligentsia. Yeah.
Well, you find out all about it and blah blah blah. But the problem is they decided to go full Deadpool. Now I remember the old She-Hulk. I mean, it was breaking the fourth wall, but it wasn't Deadpool level breaking the fourth wall.
Never go full Deadpool.
No, only he could do that. And the thing is you had this ridiculous scene. It's like she didn't like the way it was working out. So it's kind of like, stop. you see the screen goes blank, then you see the whole Disney Plus, all the thumbnails, and she pops out of one of them, goes into the Marvel one, and goes onto the studio lot. Like, I'm looking for Kevin Feige. I mean, this whole ridiculous thing, and they changed it all till she's having a picnic. Like, she wants to erase everything. I mean, they've taken a golden goose like Daredevil, and in 2 episodes annihilated the character. Like, just think of it from a studio perspective. Chris Gore had mentioned it like a few days ago. I agree with him in one part, but I would add to it. He said it's all the executives' faults because they're like bad parents. They're not the ones who are reining in the Jessica Gaus. They're not telling the showrunners and the writers, these are your lanes. Don't veer outside of the lanes. And instead, they're giving them this kind of like free reign. But think about it. I went and did background on Jessica Gao. She was rejected for Marvel Phase 1 through 3 times by Feige. But Phase 4, what? She's golden now? All of a sudden?
Well, what else have they got, George?
But it's at this point, I've concluded that it's a race. This is a race. Can they replace us, all the established fans who built up their empire, with their hashtag heroes and their social justice fans who don't buy product, don't support anything, just virtue signal?
Well, that's kind of, I was gonna say, that's kind of what their plan always was, really.
Right, but it's like, it seems accelerated, Tom.
Yeah, and not only that, it just makes it's the only people it makes sense to is them, because you're killing the next generation of fans. Because as we know, these keyboard activists, they don't go to movies, they don't buy things, they just scream and holler online. And speaking of screaming and hollering online, one person who never screams or hollers, at least that I've ever heard of, is Script Doctor. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, yes. Sorry for my tardiness. My girlfriend's father borrowed some books of mine without telling me, and I didn't know which ones he took, so I had to sort that out on the phone.
Naughty books?
I want to see Script one day have like his avatar Hulk out. No? Bruce Banner
Hulk out, huh?
Oh, what was with the trans Hulk thing going on? Yes. I saw the picture and I'm so confused by the hello.
Whoa.
Script's taking it all off.
When you don't have time to work out, you can get your avatar to work out for you.
Calm down, ladies. Right. Calm down.
Script, I've been dying to talk to you since last. Did you see the finale?
I did.
Okay, tell me that you think it's the worst thing you've ever seen outside of Rings of Power.
Unfortunately, I've seen worse than that, but it was pretty god awful. I mean, if I were the showrunner, we were breaking this down, and we ended up coming to the finale saying, "Oh, what if we had this artificial intelligence named Kevin that was, responsible for what the direction of the show was?" And my first response would be, "That's a great idea. Why the heck are we putting that in the finale? That should be your mid-season twist." Basically, and then we should set up that every time Jennifer is trying to do something, the universe just turns on a dime to go against her, and she can't figure out why. And then when she does, she realizes, oh, it's this Kevin guy, and now we have this man versus nature, man versus God tug of war over the direction of her very own television show, where Kevin wants to go in one direction, and she's like, no, I want to go in another direction. You can mind that for comedy. You can still keep it within the legal procedural thing of Ally McBeal. Like, where all she wants to do is she wants to like do her cases, but all of a sudden, all of these D-level villains start coming in and intruding on her, kind of like what we had at the end of the first episode. Only make it more sense and have a bit more coherency to it. But like, you have something awesome. You're like, oh, let's make fun of the Truman Show,
right?
And like, that's a good premise to do, especially for something like She-Hulk, to take the essence of what John Byrne did in Sensational She-Hulk and reappropriate it for television. It's like, oh, how much can you do with television? Well, you got to talk to the writers, but we're in a day age with producers have a lot more influence on it. What if you have an AI producer who oversees the entire franchise, and you have She-Hulk go head to head with them? That's an interesting take, and you have that little inkling of a good idea, but you don't have the experience, the knowledge, or the imagination to carry it to its most entertaining level, and that bothered the hell out of me. Aside from all the other stuff, like all the contrivances. I mean, the joke that Pug makes, which is like, wouldn't it be weird if I'm the only one in there with one earbud, because he's doing like the whole spy thing. And I think if they don't have a whole bunch of those guys in there all wearing a single earbud, you've just lost the joke. Because that thing is like, he's worried that he's going to stick out, but he goes in there and they all do it. It's like, oh, he's going to fit in.
Well, that goes back to what I said. Script is they don't know how to write a joke, right? Like in the first or second episode where I pointed out, like a joke only works if you pay it off, right? Because he goes, you got to be Hulk at work, by the way. That's what we expect out of you. And she's like, oh shit, I love this suit. Next scene, we see her in the suit still stretched out, but it's not ripped. The only way that joke works is if her suit is all shredded. Right? That right there in and of itself, in a nutshell, tells you that these guys do not how to tell a joke. What you just said is exactly that same thing already again, Script. And I love Crom's Devil's super chat here. Thank you for this. And I love your icon too, by the way. She-Hulk's target audience is the smartest kid at the dumb table. Exactly.
It is. But you know what the problem is? The problem is I don't think they not only know how to stick the joke and write it, is I get the feeling that a lot of these writers who are under Jessica Gao do not actually have any experience in relationships outside of any character that they haven't created themselves on paper. I think
I think you're onto something there. I think what she ended up picking for her writer's room are mostly friends and not actually the best people for the job. Because, you pointed out, because I was listening a bit when I was on my way back here, you pointed out that you did research on her. She was rejected by Feige three times. 3 times, which is actually pretty normal because Feige was notoriously doing that for phases 1 through 3.
Because she announced it in an interview. And then I went, because I was like, I found it first, and I went to find the interview that she announced it. And that's why she was shocked when she got the job in phase 4.
Well, I mean, it's really just Feige was, during the earlier years of Marvel, Feige was testing for perseverance over anything else.
Oh.
And so if you were pitching to him and Marvel all the time, if you could get into the room to the point where he could say no, you're actually in really good standing because he at least knows who you are. And he's like, the other part too is if you can go back and pitch again, you're even in better standing because they still liked you. They like something about you so that they're willing to entertain another idea. If you can get rejected 3 times before you get hired for a 4th, that's actually not bad. That shows you're establishing a relationship. And the fact that even though they passed doesn't mean you suck. It just might mean the ideas you pitched were not appropriate for what they were going for at that time. Like, it's the way Hollywood system works is that a rejection is not ostracization.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they're looking for talent because you're saying they're looking for perseverance. I thought Feige's whole thing, which I'm glad you're telling me, because I really thought that Feige's phase 1 through 3 was about assembling the best talent on the planet.
Well,
maybe in front of the screen, but
perseverance
and
talent perseverance and talent usually typically go hand in hand. Okay. Like, if you have talent, you don't want to give up. And if you don't have talent, it's a lot easier for you to give up because you realize, oh, this isn't for me, or screw the world, or what have you. I'm getting rejected all the time. No, perseverance and that goes hand in hand. And I will say this, Jessica Gao does have some talent. Like, she's gotten to this part, but I think she has had a lot of help along the way. And I don't think she's had enough experience to really absorb the type of help that she received so that she can actually utilize it independently on her own.
That's my observation, George, is that you had a situation early on where, yes, Kevin Feige had Kenneth Branagh and Joe Johnston and Jon Favreau to help him nurse the Marvel universe into existence. And then in that second phase, he had guys like James Gunn and the Russo brothers and so on. And those guys were up and coming. They weren't necessarily the veterans, but they had plenty of experience. Then you get into this phase, and it's a bunch of basically stunt casting as far as the creative side goes. Most of it. Like, most of them have 0 to no experience and or experience in the wrong places. And this is a similar thing we see across the board in all of these shows. Star Trek Discovery, for instance, and shit like that. And I think that's the bigger problem. And I think I passed out if anybody answered what the hell the deal was with Trans Hulk in this episode. I still don't think, if they did answer it, I passed out. I don't remember.
There's a trans Hulk?
Yeah, I keep seeing this picture of like another Hulk with Mark Ruffalo. I'm like, what the fuck is that thing?
It's supposed to be his kid, isn't it?
No,
is that what it is? Really?
Are you talking about Scar? I thought you were talking about at the meeting of the intelligentsia.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
No,
I don't watch.
I thought you were
shit.
talking about the female Lou Ferrigno type Hulk at the beginning of the opening.
No, I was talking about the one that was with Mark Ruffalo.
Talking about Scar. Yeah, they've introduced Scar into the MCU from the comics.
Yeah.
Certainly scarred like a lot of people in the
Scar
audience.
from Sakar, real original name there. And that's from the comics.
And that is from the comics, yeah. What I
don't that's supposed to be a boy?
It's supposed to be his son.
It's supposed to be a teenager.
Yeah, it's a teenager. Played by a teenager. Or at least someone who was born in 2002.
Didn't look like Scar from the comics. And that's why I was like, is that Scar?
I think part of the problem, guys, between phases 1, 2, 3 and now is that there's no longer respect by the writers don't respect the characters anymore. They don't respect them. They treat them very shallow, in a very shallow manner, and they don't treat them with respect. So they're basically making fun of them. They're mocking them. They're, we know it's a comic book superheroes, so we're not talking about Shakespeare here, but at least you need to, if you're writing for something, you need to respect the characters that are within that.
Should have passion for it.
Yeah, you may say this is the most ridiculous character in ever invented, but that doesn't matter. You have to respect that character if you're writing it. I don't believe they respect the characters they're writing for. I don't think most of these writers didn't even know them before they were hired for the gig. They have no respect for them, so therefore it shows in the writing.
But it does, the characters. But I'm not talking just She-Hulk. Even Rings of Power, Miss Marvel, everything. All the characters feel one-dimensional. It's like they have one or two dimensions. They have one mode, whether it's Galadriel with her scowls, or whether it's Tatiana Maslany, the way she performs. It's I don't know. There's just something that I keep feeling that these writers have not lived life. Like they have no experience with relationships.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. It does seem to bleed through in the sense that
that's a possibility. But I think Jessica Gao was married.
Even though it's like they haven't had the most positive experiences, and if you hang around a lot of male feminists, I can see why.
But do you know what I'm talking about? Script. It's like there's no depth. They're not full humans who they write for. They feel more caricatures.
They're hollowed out, if you can. I mean, even some of the stuff that you even commented on, that's not so much on the writing, that's just direction. So like, Galadriel scowls. She's being told to do that. And it's either part of the showrunners or the show director. I don't think they wrote in the script and she scowls. Although if they did, that would be hysterical. For all the wrong reasons. With Tatiana Maslany, she's a very good actor. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. And the thing is, she is too good for this show. That's just basically what it is.
I felt her talent didn't get to shine here because I remember watching her in, I forgot the name of it. The one where there's multiple copies of her.
Orphan Black, yeah.
Orphan Black. That's where I first saw her. And I was like, she's talented. I thought she was really talented, but here I didn't see any of this shine through. I actually thought Tim Roth did a better job.
Well, I think can't you argue that? I would argue that this is a case study where you can have someone with talent, but if your producers, your writers, and directors are shit, we're still going to get shit.
Right, but then Mexican Ironman, the actors of old would stand up and say, I'm not doing it this way because it's my career on the line. They'd have courage. They'd have guts. They'd say, no, here's the line. Change it. Isn't that how they used to be in the 80s and 70s?
It used to happen in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but at that time, the talent itself was in short supply, and the names were far more prominent in reputation than they are today. And here's the other thing that I remember getting this told to me many times from mostly the teachers, not so much from people in the industry, but the teachers saying a great actor can make a bad script sound good, and She-Hulk proves that's not the case. And so does Rings of Power and a whole bunch of others. It's like, no, you need at least to have something good in the script for the actor to work with in order to hide its flaws. Otherwise, what you're usually doing is you're getting a good actor who's desperately trying to hide the flaws, and they're so bad that they still come through. And that is not a failure on the actor. It's not really a failure on the director. It's a failure on the writing, which means that if you get the writing good down at the start, everything else should fall into place a lot easier than the opposite, of course.
Well, would you have ever said? Would you have ever given an interview where you stated what Jessica Gao did when it was either to Vanity Fair or Variety, where she said this is supposed to be a legal drama, but nobody on our staff has the experience writing legal dramas in courtroom dramas?
I would not ever reveal something of that nature. Let's say hypothetically, I had to do some a show that involved, say, insurance fraud or insurance manufacturing. I don't know much about insurance stuff in that regard.
Right.
But what I'd say is, like, I was hired for this show because I'm very good with characters. We did the premise on insurance. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but I made sure every writer I interviewed had some background into it, while I also went out and looked at these professions to try and figure out how I can make this as authentic as possible. And we worked really hard to do that, and I think we captured it. I hope you guys like the show. Like, that's what you would do. If I was in Jessica Gao's position, I had no idea of legal procedures, I'd be like, the first thing I wanted to do, I started going to court and listening to all the trials that I was able to do so, interviewing every single lawyer that I could that would give me the time of day, that wouldn't charge me $400 an hour to do it, and asked around. I would go to the writers who worked on Boston Legal. I'd go to writers who worked on Law and Order. I'd be like, tell me who is in your room and staff that knows how to do this, that I can interview and maybe even hire for this show. I'd reach out to them. Right. And then I'd mix in some of the best comedy writers so that we could get those two groups of people to work together to have fun with the concept. That's what you're supposed to do, ideally, as a producer and as a showrunner. And what she ended up doing was, no, I'll hire people who are probably my friends in the industry, and we'll just, we'll watch the one Hulk movie from Universal, and then we'll watch some old, 90s Ally McBeal, and then we'll see what happens. That feels like the effort that they did. Gotcha. And I will say this conversely, though. Even though they probably weren't fans, they didn't respect the characters. I will say this: being a fan does not make you immune to writing something terrible, and that's something else that have to be really important. And it really is about the responsibility to the work writing. And this production, I don't think. I think they thought they had it, but they really didn't. I don't think they grasped it enough. There sadly wasn't anyone there in the room to steer them in the right direction, because Jessica Gao and some of the others on that writing staff have done good work in other teams before. The potential is there. You just need someone that can actually shepherd them in the right direction. And they didn't have that. Instead, they had someone who was not equipped for it, given a beautiful opportunity, and really dropped the ball. If she does come back for season 2, that will be a really sad day for this
Does one episode of Rick and Morty really constitute work, though?
She got credited for one, but she worked on that entire season.
Okay. Here's the other thing. When I did a video on this, I didn't realize. Did you know that there are more Rick and Morty colleagues of hers that have joined Marvel? They're going to be working on Avengers: Secret Wars, Avengers: Kang.
Funny you mention that, because I've heard a lot of animators are going that route, but they hire a lot of them from Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty, much like Marvel, works the same way. They underpay you, overwork you, and then say, oh, it's good for your resume, which is the short version I hear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Adam Waldron, he started on Rick and Morty. I have the script that got Kevin Feige's attention. It's a terrible time travel script, but it got his attention and allowed him to do Doctor Strange. And I think he worked on WandaVision or Loki, one of those two, as a writer. It's really not.
But if that's all their hiring script, people that worked on Rick and Morty, then they're going to get Rick and Morty. They're not going to get Marvel.
Yeah, but are they going to get Rick and Morty episode 1, season 1? Or are they going to get Rick and Morty the last season?
Well, they're going to get Rick and Morty, essentially.
They're not even really the talented people.
3, 4, and 5, or whatever they are at.
Yeah,
right. But
because
sorry, Tom. I was saying, but this brings us back to the beginning of the conversation that Tom and I started just as a script doctor was coming, which I think would be fascinating to hear from everyone. We're going back to the race. This is a race to replace all the fans who actually spend money, buy the collectibles, watch the movies, get the Blu-ray, get the 4K, support it completely. They're trying to replace it with all the hashtag heroes and the bumper sticker slogan people who just breathe and go to the bathroom, who don't do anything except virtue signal before they run out of cash. I don't think they're going to win it.
Yeah, and it's not even a tinfoil theory anymore. We've literally heard the words come out of these people's mouths. people even up to the level of Kathleen Kennedy, where she's flat out said, we don't need the old fans. You know, the old fans are going to die out, basically, is what she's saying. We need to worry about the future fans. But the thing they're not thinking of, as we said, is that a lot of future fans and loyalty, at least, is created through generations, not through just happenstance. Sure, you get some people who will pick up on a franchise that may not have somebody to usher them into it. But in most cases, you know, you have somebody who's like, my father took me to Star Wars.
Right.
You know, or my parents or my big brother used to watch Star Trek. You know, you'll have those kind of things. Mikey, for instance, will tell you that, you know, for him, Captain Kirk was his dad growing up. You know, I mean.
But look at it. Cobra Kai.
Possibly quite literally. Possibly.
Maybe.
Right. Look at Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai has an entire new generation plus the old. That's how you build a future fan base. They honored what came before. So you bring in everybody who came from the originals, plus you branched it out. I mean, I think that's done right.
And you can only take that so far, though. Like, script is right, because, you know, we talk about often how, you know, if you're a fan of Star Wars, Star Trek, what have you, the last thing you want to tell them when you're going in for a job is that you're a fan. But it goes the other way too, because sometimes fans hold things too dear. And that's why they I don't want to use
they don't know how to kill their
they
darlings.
romanticize things. Yes.
So in writing, you have a term called kill your darlings. So a fan, a diehard fan has a real difficult time doing that. If you want to do something where you're like, I don't think a fan would ever come up with the episode of Chain of Command, which is when Jellicoe took over the Enterprise and Picard was tortured. I don't think a fan and would ever come up with that prior to it ever existing.
Okay.
But, you know, a good writer would, because he's like, this is the plan. I'm going to torture Picard. I'm going to show his perseverance as a character, but I'm also going to introduce another Starfleet captain that doesn't rub everyone the right way, but he's a very, very good captain. And I'm going to tease with the audience to wonder who we're going to end up with by the end of this two-parter.
I hated that captain.
Oh, I love Jellicoe. He's a really interesting character.
I'm talking about the character. It drove me crazy. I'm like, remove him.
But no, I mean, that's the thing. If you can do that, you elicit the response out of the fan of like, yeah, I really like Captain Picard. I think he's more appropriate for the Enterprise. I'm tortured like he is, that he's not able to get back on his ship and that he's being, humiliated by this Cardassian. Fans don't take risks that often, unfortunately. But I mean, a great writer who happens to be a fan will, because they're able to say, listen, if I want people to really feel something out of this, I got to do something that might shake them a little bit, but I got to make sure that I keep them safe, because that's a clown rule by Robert Purchenko, which is keep them safe. So it means you can don't make them feel so uneasy that they're going to jump ship, which is what's been happening with some of these franchises so far.
Well, then wouldn't you want to have a fan? Wouldn't it be a great team then to have, like what you just described, to have a fan and the experienced writer?
Sometimes
no,
that might
because
work.
The fans usually get kicked out of the room.
Usually,
as a result of the writers upset at them, as a result of the fans upset at the writers.
I think it's back again to, you don't necessarily want a fan. You want someone that has respect for the character, though, and has knowledge about the character.
Because that's the thing, is it's not that you can't kill Han Solo in The Force Awakens, it's how it's done, right? Same thing with Luke. You know, like Luke, I don't think anybody would have had a problem with Luke dying if he'd actually showed the fuck up. Right?
Yeah,
that was a complete waste.
Well, he's literally phoning it in.
What Luke was in The Last Jedi, if that had all been a test in the same way that Yoda was testing Luke in Empire, that would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like him throwing the lightsaber, telling her to go away, everything, and then she passes all of his little tests to make herself worthy of training of a Jedi, and then he starts actually doing the stuff that Yoda did with her, with him years prior. People would have cheered in uproar and be like, that is brilliant. That, like, oh, that's
you
what
need that unforgiven moment, right? Like, that's what I was saying all that time. And all it really could have been is just Yoda going, testing her, you were not, yourself you were.
Right.
And he's like, shit. Yeah, you're right. You know, and then he goes and he braces the fucking ship, and he goes and he saves his fucking sister. Like, that's all anybody wanted him to do.
Well, we all wanted them together too, at least once.
Yeah, at least once. But even if you can't do that, there's still a way, like, you can make the death mean something. And the way he died, it just went out in a way that I understand. In that sense, it was like, The whole thing was set up. He's a fucking piss poor dad, took off on his family, you know, regardless, we never even got the reasons. So we don't even know really what it was behind it. You can assume all you want all day long, as we all did as fans, but we never really got good explanation behind it all.
Well, that's a mystery box for you.
Another mystery box.
I hate the mystery box. But look, again, we're talking about Rings of Power. If we were going to go along the line, but they're not fans. They keep saying they're the greatest fans, the stewards of Tolkien's line, and I don't see it anywhere.
Rubbish. Yeah.
Well,
rubbish.
I mean, here's the other part too. They might be fans, but they just might be really poor at writing, like that, and have terrible ideas. Fans can have bad ideas just like anyone else can. That's not unheard of.
Okay.
But
yeah, absolutely.
I don't buy that they're probably as committed to Tolkien and all that stuff as other people are.
No.
But I would not be shocked if you were to do a Tolkien trivia and they were to answer all the questions correctly. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't.
No. I think they've memorized stuff. I don't think they have an understanding of what the stories, the themes are about. I don't think they understand Tolkien. I think they
only know it superficially. Yeah.
Yes,
I think they'd be able to tell you what Tolkien didn't say.
Yeah. That's because they've attacked some of the key foundations. Like, it's not possible. And you even saw, what was it, a couple of days ago, they put out another article, like they've learned what the mistakes they made in season 1.
Well, actually, that's kind of one of our main topics today. It's one of the reasons we really wanted you here, George. But let's get to some of these super chats first, because they actually have to do with the She-Hulk business and stuff like that you guys were talking about. So let's get those out of the way so we can get into this Rings of Power thing. Deleted Scenes, aka Steven, sends in a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. And it's a number 1 finger. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. We love having fans here. Let's see here. We also have Nelson Sharita, who says, I sentence you to death. No, by Snoo Snoo. Yes.
Death by Umbongo. That was an old joke.
Gunganer says, I live in a 1,500 people town. We love hockey. We have a hockey team. When they play, there is 700 to 800 people in the stands. Hey,
I can testify to that, and so can Script as Canadians. You can
for some reason in Wisconsin,
everybody goes to the game.
It never caught on here for some reason.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was in San Jose, I had San Jose Shark tickets, but I was mostly hanging out at the bar where the Smoking Hot Blondes were. Like that damn thing moved way too fast.
And that proves how good hockey is then. Because you had a great night.
I mean, honestly, I can't understand why Wisconsin it isn't a big thing, but it isn't here, and I don't know why.
You guys have the Packers. It's all about
Packers. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it really is all about the Packers.
There's a lot of great players from Wisconsin, though.
Like the Packers are your football. Like Packers fans are nuts. You guys are crazy. Like you guys, you guys root for the freaking Packers year round. Like in the middle of fucking.
It's the Packers, yo.
You know that
we got the Brewers, but they keep fucking shit up.
One of my favorite players of all time, Joe Pavelski of the Dallas Stars, is from Wisconsin, Plover, Wisconsin. So there you go. So there is hockey there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was only when growing up in my small town, I was 5 minutes away from a hockey arena, and it was packed every game night.
Yeah. It's good fun. But anyway,
it is.
I mean, we've got some kiddie leagues here and there in certain towns, and I mean, I think we have some what is it, like the equivalent of like double or triple A or whatever.
Yeah, funnily, just, Mike mentioned the Sharks there. If that was a few years ago, Pavelski was still playing for them, so you would have seen him from the bar playing. But anyway,
yeah, he needed more teeth.
We all try to forget the Bucks.
He didn't have all of his teeth, that guy.
None of them do.
Here's the thing: the Bucks were so bad when I was growing up. Most of my friends were Chicago Bulls fans. Mega J says, to quote comic book guy, worst inning ever. I don't know. Is that worse than? There's just some pretty bad ones out there.
But have tonight's finale.
Yeah, I mean the How I Met Your Mother finale. I heard
never
a lot
saw
of
that one.
Oh, that one's bad. The Newhart one is a famous one. Then there's
the Newhart one.
The finale of Lost was fairly well.
Lost is just
J.J. Abrams.
What's the other one I'm trying to think of? Saint Elsewhere. Is that the one where it's all in the kid's head?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think that's the one.
Okay, I mean, look at
Game of Thrones season 7.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Dexter season, the first finale.
The middles,
yeah, Dexter was pretty
Boy, we're all over the map right now in the first hour.
Cryam says, got summoned for D-Bubs, so I will have to catch the video on demand. Mikey, sorry, Jesus Christ. Just shower while watching Rings of Power and She-Hulk so you can rage eat the water. Wouldn't that cause like a nuclear explosion though?
Was that?
Like, because the fusion of the hot and cold hitting each other. Like,
such a good one.
That was Cry-Am. Yeah, we got the lacrosse loggers, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. Something like that.
Lacrosse dressing loggers in Wisconsin.
Yeah. And then we got Greek Light, who says, so good to see you, George. Go Giant Slayer.
Right.
There you go.
Thank you.
And then we got Gungnir, who says, script, tell the truth. You were basing skeletons?
What? Is it freebasing skeletons? Or
I think he meant bashing skeletons.
I was going to say, I think
bashing. Warning on Diablo. He
freebases those bitches when he's done, though.
Right. Grind up the bones and smoke them.
Wow.
Shit.
It's like I'm the giant.
Can you imagine somebody like Stephen King? Their bone mass must be like pure cocaine at this point.
Their bone marrow is probably like Jello.
Jello's right.
Gelled cocaine. Elf says, Mikey, don't you dare harm my Elf ADA brother.
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda. They're a terrorist organization that has rallied behind my destroying my mental health.
Okay, I remember seeing the tweets now. It says, okay, Tom, the MCU needs to die. Kill it with fire. They're wasting good characters. Just let them fucking burn out at this point.
But they're actually planting the seeds, if you think about it, though. Many people they're ruining it for a lot of people. I can't believe there's going to be a season 2. I mean,
is it been announced?
Worst rating. No, a lot of people have mentioned it.
I don't confirmed for it, but I don't know how many other people are coming back.
How is that possible when it's the second worst rated show after their own Miss Marvel? Like, it's not high.
Because they can't not to do it. It would be an admission of failure.
No, just there was a 1 season special event. You know, what do they call them?
Well, they've already confirmed Moon Knight 2.
Oh God!
Ooh, why?
I don't know. I really don't know. And there's also Loki season 2 coming. It looks like everything's getting a second season except for WandaVision.
Interesting. Which was, I thought, the best one.
Which really had a conclusion.
Hawkeye's getting one too.
Definitive conclusion.
Oh, come on. That's not possible. I think that was even.
I think Hawkeye's getting one. Miss Marvel's getting one.
Wow. And they're even giving that new character who I never heard of in the comics, Echo.
Echo's got her series, because that's coming before Daredevil, I think.
We just haven't heard about Punisher.
Yeah.
I think the last we heard was the rumor that they might be working on that as a movie project, but we're not sure yet. They're still trying to hash that out with Bernthal. So,
well, because I remember,
I was just gonna say on the Marvel note though, we did get according to Slash Film, they have confirmed that Harrison Ford will be replacing William Hurt in the Thunderbirds. Now this is a rumor we heard for a while, and the big reason it was a big deal was they decided not to recast T'Challa, even though the actor playing T'Challa just passed away. It's okay to do it to the white guy though. But then on the other hand, we heard that KK actually. They had planned on announcing this at D23, but KK didn't want anything taking away any fire from Indiana Jones, so she put the kibosh on that, I hear. That's the rumor going around.
But how is he doing that when he's doing that Yellowstone prequel?
There's time. He's playing. This is not going to be out for a couple of years.
I think his Thunderbolt Ross is going to be a voice only because he's supposed to be Red Hulk.
Could very well be.
Gotcha.
So literally, Harrison Ford can phone it in.
Yeah,
literally.
I like the fact you said Thunderbirds, Tom. I'd love to see Harrison Ford.
Did I say Thunderbird? Oh my God, I meant Thunderbolts. Jesus Christ.
That would get me interested.
As the dad Tracy.
Thunderbirds, go.
Tracy, yes, that would get me interested.
Watch me land this fucker.
Not a word you normally heard in Thunderbirds.
Where's the bot?
If anything,
fly better stone.
Rescuing from International Rescue of Thunderbirds.
Don't let old man Tracy fly.
I gotta quit smoking so much. Those guys look like they're puppets.
He's married to Callista Flockhart, who looks like a marionette already.
What the fuck is in this shit?
Anyway, it was just one of these fortunate mistakes when you said that.
But
that would be good. That would.
I know we got a limited schedule with George, so let's get on this. Yeah, as you were talking about, did the Rings of Power fumble its release or just set itself up for success in season 2?
Okay, I have one quick question for script before we jump into this about Rings of Power. Two of the showrunners, well, there's only two. You got Payne and McKay at Comic-Con had stated that season 1, they said it's hypothetical, but they didn't use that word. They used another word. I'm paraphrasing. They said will be a prologue. And I think that's one of the issues besides they don't know Tolkien and everything else. Have you ever heard of a season-long prologue in television?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You don't have the time for prologues in television.
No.
Well, we talked about it before on Nina's. That's why I was asking. It's like I checked it up again. It's like a season-long prologue. Okay.
It's a log.
That's like soap opera doesn't have any season-long prologue.
That would be on, like, for one of my dates, that would be like having an all-night foreplay. No, got to get to the action.
It's kind of a log, it's just not a prologue.
Prologue.
Let's get to the log.
Actually, Brian, that was good enough that deserves a bump, but I haven't
got it.
Where's your bump? There you go.
But like, yeah, no. Did the Rings of Power fumble? Oh, fuck, yes, it did.
Only one of those two statements can be true in that headline. Only one of them.
Should we read this garbage?
Yeah, there's a key part. It's interesting when they say what they did wrong.
So stop me, George, when you need me to. But I know we're on limited. We got how long, George?
We're on it now. I can go another.
Oh, you got an hour. 7:30 Eastern. I was thinking, okay.
Yeah, I can go another.
It's almost 7:30.
No, he's only got like 10, 15 minutes. Let's go.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and I got to drop out then too, but I'm not as important as George, so don't worry about
it.
You always leave us to go eat supper, though. It's almost like a thing now. Of all the possible
fetish.
Outcomes of facing Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, the one I didn't see coming is that I'd end up feeling a need to defend it. Well, clearly you did. You probably got a nice fat check from Amazon, too. Basically, everything about the show's production, i.e. a behemoth corporation spending unfathomable amounts of money on a blatant IP grab for streaming service on the edge of relevance, at least they admit it right up front, represents everything I've come to loathe about the entertainment industry. But my bank account loves the check Amazon gave me, so I have to come up with a reason to defend the show. The age of TV reboots seems almost quaint now in this era of endless prequels and sequels and spin-offs of franchises. As the most expensive television series of all time, like that's supposed to mean something here, The Rings of Power should by all rights be an enemy number one. And yet, on the eve of its first season coming to a close, all I can muster is a pretty sort of confusion that the series isn't half the pop culture monster it promised to be. The show's good, I keep yelling at no one in particular. Morphid Clark's Galadriel rules. I insist at a vocal token fan saying otherwise, reasoning that even elves are allowed to change. Oh, so you're biased right off the bat.
Right.
Change over thousands.
I thought you were going to read the article where they actually lay out some of what they did wrong. Does this have it in it? I don't remember if this.
Looking back at a few factors to point to muted reception. For one, the first 2 episodes making up the premiere were unavoidably but unfortunately heavier on exposition than action.
They weren't.
Is this the part you're talking about, George?
In that.
No, keep going.
Typically, I'm not an advocate for this sort of season 1 is basically a pilot episode approach, which many streaming services have used. No,
that was one of the things, except now they've changed it to a pilot episode approach for all of season 1 instead of prologue.
Most expensive pilot in history, then.
I just never heard of an entire season pilot. That's why I was asking.
9-hour pilot? Jesus.
No. As developed by showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, though the show seems to be assembling itself piece by piece, slowly but steady in a bid to become a kind of sweeping epic people will someday watch with breathless marathon gulps. No, they won't. I'm sure Amazon would love it if their hundreds of millions of dollars had resulted in a kind of inescapable, Jesus Christ, inescapable social media chatter, or let me make this just a little
bit. They
want
zeitgeist. They were looking for zeitgeist.
There we go. That helps. Here we go.
They want it to be Game of Thrones.
Inescapable social media chatter or deep Reddit dives that House of Dragon has been generating. However, there's a decent chance that at least narratively, the Rings of Power could win the long game anyway. Having had to pitch 5 seasons at once, Payne and McKay have to rise to the challenge of building the kind of epic story Tolkien fans won't just recognize, but will respect.
Yeah, no.
Give how many characters, timelines, and the corners of the world the Rings of Power is currently juggling, it's inevitable that its initial outings would be heavy on exposition as they set the stage for the immense battles to come.
Well, there's a problem right there, because Lord of the Rings isn't just about the battles. If you think it's all about leading up to just some big battles, then they're missing the point completely.
Yeah, they don't get it. See, that's why I said they don't understand it. If you read, this isn't the article, then I have the article here if you want me to share screen, which goes into it.
Oh, sure. If you want to go ahead and do that and make it easier.
Just while you guys are doing that, I'll drop out. But thanks for having me on again, Tom.
Take care, brother, and enjoy your suppers.
Great to see you, that 70s.
Yeah, you too, George, gentlemen.
Thanks for your commitment to supper over your friends.
Hey, earlier today, Mrs. Rockfan served me lunch live on a stream, which was nice, but she's not going to do it twice in one day. So.
Wow.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Check out 70s Rock Band's channel. And then we got Rings of Power bosses admit that what didn't work in season 1. Okay, so take us through this, George, since you don't have too long.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Let me just get it here.
Sounds like somebody's got a storm brewing.
Yeah, it's me. It's me. There's
big cool.
Black cloud. So it says, so let me just cut to the chase. Okay, referencing this, Payne and McKay admit that some of the early episodes lack the urgency that fans expect from Tolkien adaptations. With the former saying, one of the big things we learned was even when it's a small scene, it always has to tie back into the larger stakes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. See,
you learned that in screenwriting school on like the first day.
Right, but can you imagine that? That's why I'm glad we're all here together. I wanted to see
10 years.
Right. Could you imagine that they're admitting that? Anyone? I mean,
there's a saying in screenwriting called GSU. It's goals, stakes, and urgency. These are the 3 pillars you need for your plotting and your characters in order to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but also not sacrificing anything in the interim. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but even the biggest loser in the world who put an effort towards 10 years of dating would get laid more times than these guys had a show.
Right, because
like just out of pure happenstance.
Right, numbers.
Numbers. Like I think after 10 years, if you had not gotten a project made, you're the fucking problem, as I keep saying, George. Right. Like this is what I love, and I think you're this is stuff that I think is taken from the Variety or the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
Expose or whatever you want to call it, the thing to help promote Rings in its last desperate stitch effort to,
because Amazon is spending money everywhere. YouTube, it's Twitter, Variety, Vanity Fair.
It's everywhere. The ads are everywhere, George.
I was showing Mexican Iron Man. What was it, 7-8 days ago? Mike, when it was like some magazine actually had their ad in a contact form, on the bloody contact form.
Yep.
Not the front page, a contact form. So it goes on. What these guys say, I think now this is Payne who's talking. Okay, and McKay agreed, saying there are things that didn't work as well in season 1 that might have worked in a smaller show. Really. It has to be about good and evil and the fate of the world, or it doesn't have the epic feeling you want when you're in talk. See, they do not.
Does it really? Does it always? The Hobbit wasn't.
No, that's the thing. It builds this large story. You have the Fellowship. It grows and grows and grows. It's time. It's like following.
Not everything is cataclysmic. This is the same problem we have with MCU and DC movies and shit, right? Like, not everything has to be world ending.
No, but see,
it's not to that degree. But one of the interesting aspects of Tolkien, especially for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, is that it's a ticking clock story. Yep. They have to get this ring to the fires of Mount Doom as quickly as possible, because otherwise, if they are stopped or thwarted in any way, Sauron could get the ring back and start this nightmare all over again.
Pretty much. Exactly. But look at what they say. He continued by describing the show as a massive learning experience for everyone involved. $1 billion learning experience. Hey, I who doesn't want that? Script?
Sign me up.
Here's the other part too. You should always be learning something from a show, but you shouldn't be learning the basics from a show. Like you should be learning very specific things, experiencing unique problems that you have to solve on the fly so that you can prepare for them in the future. That sort of thing. what we've just seen now in these first 3 paragraphs are the basics. Like, it's just okay. If you don't start with a grandiose story, it's like climbing stairs. You build up to it before you get to that first plateau, or that first landing, however you want to word it.
Right.
But you don't start off on the bat like, yep, the world's going to end.
So you know what that means, script, what they're going to do for their next season by their words. Everything.
What it means is that, Tom's right. It's not that they've been working 10 years. It's that they're probably very incompetent, and they probably had good references, good ability, sales pitches, everything to get them.
JJ is what got
around.
Them. Yeah.
But when push came to shove, and things started getting close to an actual production, people started bailing because they realized, I don't think we're gonna be able to make any money off of this.
Well, the quote that really I keyed in on script is where they say, we've had so many productions for the last 10 years where it's had the right title, the right actors, the right director, the right producers, and it still didn't happen. It's like, then clearly there's one thing that keeps happening that's wrong here, guys. It's you. And the fact that you still have a job is beyond me. And the way that they sound is that like that pretentious bitch that worked on the Superman and Lois show who's like, I know I'm a good writer. I can't be the problem. They fired me because I'm black. Right. It's like, no, they fired you because you're a shit fucking writer on a low-level CW show. If you're getting fired from a fucking CW show, then that should tell you something. But these guys here, George, I think is 100% correct. The only fucking reason they're still in Hollywood is because they got JJ's tit in their mouth.
Yeah,
that is the only reason.
They admitted it. I think it's either in the article that you had up when we're done with this, we can go back to it, or it's in last week's Vanity Fair. They admitted if it was not for J.J. Abrams,
yeah, it's in the Hollywood Reporter.
Who they asked a favor to call up because they go, that's what pushed them over the line. And they got pushed above the Russo brothers. Now, the Russo brothers were supposed to be the showrunners, but Simon Tolkien did not like their pitch. And he liked J.D. Payne's and supposedly Patrick McKay's pitch of taking, like, Script and I have talked about this before, even Tom. We mentioned this a month ago. They took the first opening of Peter Jackson and said, okay, there it is. That's the whole show. We want to build 5 seasons around this and then go into the last war, into the war of the last alliance of men and elves. But when you read some of these things, I think it goes further. Massive learning experience. Where is it? The aim is, here it is. Filming for the second season of The Lord of the Rings of Power began last week, October 3rd. It's pre-production. So with McKay confirming the aim is to be bigger and better.
That's a J.J. Abrams quote. That's what he says. He says for every sequel, for every follow-up, bigger and better.
Bigger and better.
That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't, because they haven't.
Because they take it literally. They don't think about it abstractly. But sorry to interrupt there, George.
No. How would you? I mean, it is not possible, right? You can't fix something whose foundation is broken like this to draw people back in. I mean, you could fix it, but
in order to make the foundation have value again, the only show I can do that to is Doctor Who. Because Doctor Who's initial foundation opens it up to the point where I could make that 13th Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. She wouldn't be the Doctor, but she'd be the most dangerous villain the Doctor had ever faced, without you having to ignore all of the episodes she played. And that's just by using the trope of you have the Doctor, you have the Master, and then Jodie Whittaker would be playing the imposter. She steals people's lives and poses as them and lives that life trying to be like them, but can't do it. And the Doctor has been trapped in some sort of like pocket dimension this entire time. And when he does finally escape, you have the two go head to head with each other. And then you've established something that no series had ever done, especially a long running one like Doctor Who, which is you had a villain that was playing the imposter of a character that no audience was enjoying watching. But at the same time, now that you have this reveal that, she's not really the Doctor, she's an imposter. If you were to binge the show as a new fan, a lot of people would probably encourage you, like, yeah, you got to watch the Jodie Whittaker stuff because because the reveal that comes towards the end is going to be very worth it. Right. Because you can make every single action that she made fall into place as her manipulating and not understanding the roles that she has and why a character like her has zero identity and why she feels the need to steal others. Like there's so much depth that's in there. For me as a script doctor looking at it,
they should hire you tomorrow. They should hire you tomorrow. That would actually work and solve all the problems. But
it would also make you still be able to sell those seasons on DVD in the future.
It's weird. I think script doctor should actually be a professional script doctor or something.
Yeah. Right. No, but I'm saying, what's the point of the season 2 if season 1 fails? Like, how you're not getting the people back who are out.
That is true. I mean, it's going to be
like I don't in that respect. Like, how long do you think it is script before they replace these motherfuckers?
Oh, they're signed up for the whole thing. I don't know how like that works.
That don't mean shit.
Okay, so let's do a hypothetical. Let's say that midway production of season 2,
they decide that
Payne and McKay are not appropriate for this show. Well, they can be replaced, but just because they're being replaced on the actual working side of things and writing side of things and running side of things doesn't mean that they're not still going to have their names attached. They're not still going to be cashing checks on this.
And still be there. Exactly. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm surprised, Script, that even already during the second season, they haven't announced like a new showrunner to come and help them give a new perspective on things.
Oh, you haven't heard about the fact that I said this 3 weeks ago. One of their first announcements was that season 2 would be helmed by an all-female directors.
Well, yeah.
No, I know. Remember, they didn't say we found the most talented female directors. No. We found females who've shot fantasy, so anything, just women. Like, it doesn't matter. Just check off.
What I'm talking about, though, I remember that, but what I mean is I have a feeling they're going to have like a mop-up artist come in.
How?
And that is somebody who's going to actually, this person, be it whoever it is, or people, will come in and ostensibly do their job. They'll still be there, like Script said, because they have to be contractually or whatever, but they'll be just sitting on the side of the road because they can't do shit.
Right, but
because Amazon's going to put them in their place.
But how do you replace them when they've made themselves the public image? I mean, they're the ones who are constantly like, we're the stewards of
Amazon
Tolkien.
Can change that real quick.
Oh, but won't that again confirm another loss? Like, I thought the whole point of this
they can word it in a way where it's like their duties duties have increased to the point where they're no longer able to manage the show and everything else around the show at the same time. So it'll be considered like a pseudo promotion.
Or they'll, like I said, they'll say, "Oh, we've got this other person coming in to give us a new perspective on things," and that's usually code for this person's coming in to take over. And
they probably wouldn't say perspective. They'd be saying the level of epicness for this next season is so great that we need one extra person to help us manage.
Y'all are killing me.
Absolutely, that's exactly what they'll say. Though
something like that. Wow.
Yes. Fucking yes.
Take a look at Star Trek Discovery and the changing of showrunners each and every time. They don't blatantly say that they're fired. Like, this one's coming in to help with this part of the direction of the series, and this one's leaving to work on this other project that's been in the works for several years. It's all politics on that.
Does anybody call them on it?
Oh,
the media used to years ago. Whenever a showrunner was fired or a cast member was fired from a series, I remember the controversy over Roseanne when they replaced Becky, but it had nothing to do with her being fired. It's like she wanted to go to school.
Yeah.
Where's that article that you had, Tom? Because in there, I think it was the third or fourth paragraph.
Because
there was a good part. Because the other thing that they stated is that so we're now going to expect nothing but spectacle. I mean, nothing but spectacle. They already didn't have anything else, so it's going to be all.
Well, now that they've amortized a lot of stuff, they'll probably be able to actually spend some of that money on the show this time. Let's see here.
And did you see Cobra Kai today? And the Nielsen's beat it.
Well, that's our next story, actually, but. There's only one paragraph left of this, so it's got to be. There's, of course, every chance the show will not live up to its ambitions going forward, and will instead collapse under the weight of them. The season finale can and should include some real answers to the show's most burning questions. Where's Sauron? What's up with the stranger? Do these mysteries have the same answer? Rather than tease them out much longer, the second season, which is already written and begun shooting, could render every word of this column moot if it doesn't prioritize episodic urgency in a way the first didn't. But in surveying the evidence of how season 1 unfolded, I nonetheless will hold out hope that its better instincts will win out. Leaning into its existing strengths, clever dialogue, gorgeously filmed vistas, and caves alike, Clark's nuanced performance and the tender bonds between unlikely pairs like Elf Elrond, Robert Arameo, and Dwarf Durin, Iwan Arthur, or Harfoot Nori, Markella Kavanaugh, and her magic stranger, Daniel Myman, should yield a winning, compelling story. The question is, how many people does Rings of Power have to compel in order for Amazon Lord of the Rings fans and the wary industry at large to consider it an actual win?
I'll find the other article. What I wanted to ask is, if they win one award during award seasons, will they use that as a victory?
Yes,
like,
but I don't know what they would possibly win.
No, like cinematography, directing, special
cinematography,
effects.
I'd say, is kind of subpar because the framing of some of the shots is very amateurish.
I agree.
If they get any awards for this show, it's because they'll have done a huge fucking campaign, sent out a buttload of goodie bags, and
the show checks a lot of the boxes for it to be considered for nomination.
Well,
because you'll see, because you will know it's bullshit once they get fucking nominations for costumes and shit, George. You and I both know that, because then we'll know this whole fucking thing is rigged.
Well, someone is asking me real quick, because they're asking me about why this series. I believe Simon Tolkien made this series for one of the reasons, because he had a chip on his shoulder, because him and his father had disowned him for about 10 years when Peter Jackson had begun production on his Lord of the Rings trilogy. See, Simon, in a famous radio interview, which you can find online, it's on YouTube, or you can see it in a video of mine, I don't remember which one, stated to the person that he believed Peter Jackson was too faithful to Tolkien. He followed his grandfather's words too closely, the themes, the course, and he believes the director should go in his own direction, using Tolkien only as an inspiration, that they should create their own world out of this. So that's where Christopher and his son got into a huge argument. But in the last couple of years before Christopher died, he made up with him. Obviously, he didn't want to be estranged from him. But I think he's doing this because he failed in his life for a large part of it, according to him. Not me saying that he was a failure. He was a lawyer for 20 years in London, and then he became a writer. He wrote like murder mysteries, and they got published under the HarperCollins banner. Like his grandfather after a while. So I think he's doing a lot of this to carve out his own name. And I think, my belief, no proof of this, is that he's doing it out of spite. I mean, you can't create something better, destroy it. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I don't know the whole ins and outs, but I will say this. What I know of, as far as like, because I read through like all those notes that Tolkien had for the 1950s version of the film that never got made. And compared to how Christopher feels about things, I can't even say it's somewhere in the middle between where Christopher and Simon are, because it's really leaning a lot more towards Christopher. Because yes, Tolkien wasn't so hung up on everything in the book has to be in the movie.
No. But
he's more, his more thing is, does it get the themes? Does it get, the little things right? As far as like his whole thing was, you going through it, it's like, you can't have this happening at the same time as this because it doesn't make any fucking sense. And how's this character getting to this place in this amount of time when clearly there's this much time that's passed? How do you have winter going on here and summer in this other fucking place? It's like, you guys are not even fucking paying attention to the main basic shit, let alone the rest of this stuff. So like, he's like very giving in a sense that, he even flat out says it in one point where he's like, I understand television and film are a much different medium than books. And I don't expect, these things to be, I don't remember, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he's like, I don't expect these things to be verbatim from my books, but Jesus fucking Christ, at least get a few things right when it comes to the,
you respecting the canon doesn't mean, see, people always mistake that, especially the ones who are trying to troll. Sticking to the canon doesn't mean you're going to repeat.
He's like, no, but his main thing is like, you guys don't even get the themes of these stories. He's like, it's kind of his main thing he was saying.
That's
it's like
the problem. But see, that's what Simon disagreed with. He believed you don't have to follow any of the themes. You can just basically go, I read it. This is my inspiration. That's why he works well with J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. Now, Payne and McKay's whole thing is that, and they've repeated this 1,000 times ad nauseum, every day on set, before we even begin, we recite a line of Tolkien in Elvish. Now, what would you think of that script when you heard that? Does that sound like PR?
It sounds not only disingenuous, but BS, because I don't think any professional... Peter Jackson didn't do anything like that.
No.
In fact, the only thing he said is like, just read the books on your downtime.
It sounds like something that'd be in a Monty Python skit or a SNL parody.
It sounds like a great deal of effort to try and convince those that have doubt that they are legit. I mean, Midnight's Edge, you guys brought up the fan baiting stuff that was done on that Twitter thread a while back. I don't think fan baiting has a single tier with regards to hating on the fans or saying that they're talking. I think it has a sense of trying to manipulate them based on a false sense of earnest adoration for the property as well. It's like we'll start by saying we're the real fans, that we love this stuff, and we can quote things in various languages that are made up within the series. But the moment that they turn on us, that's when we can actually start doing the other type of fan bait, where it's like our show is really great. It's only this popular racist because we speak Elvish every day before we start shooting, or we were thinking
Andre
only of the
put
fans beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you say that, but your execution says otherwise.
Right. I think Andre put that in the fake it till you make it section. Yeah.
Well, the actions always speak louder than words. I mean, I see on the Twitter and Instagram and Facebook that the Rock's little stuff that he's doing to promote Black Adam, it sounds like begging to me, right. And it sounds like a form of fan baiting, where it's like, just please, 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 I beg you, watch this. You're gonna love it. You're only really seeing the film for the last 2 minutes, but it's gonna be worth it for you to buy the ticket and sit through the whole
30
thing.
Seconds.
It's 30 seconds. There's so many sexual analogies you can make out of Black Adam.
Well, I did retweet it like a while back if it hasn't been pulled down yet. Like it's not that exciting. I really am not impressed.
On the Tolkien
I'm
side
not even
of things,
actually convinced it's Henry Cavill. I think it's CGI, to be honest with you. But anyway, continue.
Well, I would say on the Tolkien side of things, I think Payne and McKay are trying to do the JJ stuff, which is find a way to take the superficial aspects of Tolkien and twist them to make it seem like the most authentic aspects of who they are as stewards for this franchise. Abrams tried to do that with Star Trek. He said, I wasn't really a Star Trek kid growing up. I was more into Star Wars, but I see the potential of being able to bridge the two together because you have all these brilliant characters that need a modern take, and we have to be able to capture that spirit and that relationship between Kirk and Spock and McCoy. And it seems on surface like it's a legitimate passion for it, but really he's just throwing these words together as part of a PR stunt just to appease the fans on their hopes and avoid the severity of the backlash by being honest and saying, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to cash in a check and cut a piece out of this franchise. And I'm very, very curious to see what merchandising contracts are with this Rings of Power show, and if there's anything similar to what has been done with Bad Robot and the franchises they've been associated with.
Well, it's just interesting, the fact that I found, while I was listening to you, I found the Hollywood Reporter article where they go into a little bit more detail, and where Tom was bringing up the fact that they were into it for 10 years. And they said, okay, we've given movies 10 years where we had the right script, we had the right actors, we had the right director, and then it just kept falling apart. And you brought up, so they go, we went to this TV thing. And they're going more into here about, well, that doesn't mean you want me to share it with y'all?
You can. I will say this, not necessarily to the defense of Payne and McKay, right, but I will say that the writer of Squid Games was rejected for like 10 years. Well.
The rejection doesn't bother me. Yeah. That happens in life, in every business.
Exactly. It's just part of the industry.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's the arrogance and then looking at the product. Like, if you're going to be arrogant, you better back it up. You know what I'm kind of...
because I think they're a bit too confident or a bit too committed with their statements. Because like I've had stuff where I think it's a great script, and a lot of other people thought it was a great script, and we started getting towards production, and then our lead actor got their dream role in another project, and they left, and then we couldn't find a replacement for them in time. So then the director went on to another job, and that just happens. It's the way it is. But the other part too is that I use that script as a calling card, and it's gotten me other work, and I've written other scripts that have done the same thing. For these guys here, I think it's all, everything that they've done has all been internally with Bad Robot. Okay. And because it hasn't been, and with any other production houses, they have no credits to their name. Gotcha. So basically they're doing this within Bad Robot. Bad Robot is able to get all the deals in place to make it work. But I think it has to do with the financing aspect of things, where Yeah, they may have the director attached, they may have the writer, they may have the cast attached, everything. It's all, do we have the money to pay for it? And I think that's where it all fell apart for them. And I think basically they were able to convince the talent that this was great, but they weren't able to convince the accountants.
Now, can actors take off? Because there has been a persistent rumor for 4 months that I only have one confirmation. I'm waiting to get 3, so I'm just going to say it's a complete rumor right now, that the actor who plays Elrond is leaving because they were supposed to all sign contracts for all 5 seasons, that they couldn't take a job with anybody else. Is that typical? Like, can an actor leave with a contract like that?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. If they want to break the contract, they can.
I didn't know that.
Like it's the contracts in Hollywood are not legally binding in the same way that you would have something else outside of it. It's because all actors are contract players.
Doesn't ruin their careers?
Nope, doesn't ruin their careers.
Wow.
I mean, if they leave on bad terms, it can ruin their careers. But if he goes to the showrunner and says, "Listen, there's this opportunity for a role that I'm wanting to do. I'm willing to negotiate to schedule it out so I can still maintain this one. If you guys can't, I have to take this role." And it's no ill will towards you. If it's negotiated well, which most cases they usually are, yeah, it's amicable. When difference between, like, say, Terrence Howard and Marvel, where he was signed on for 3 films and to be War Machine,
right?
And when the second film was in pre-production, he wanted more money.
Oh, that's it.
And yeah, he wanted more money, and they said, "Well, we can negotiate that for the third film." And he's like, "No," and he walked. And they're like, "Okay, then we'll just get Don Cheadle."
That was stupid of him.
That's kind of how it works. Like in most cases, the contracts are there to where if the studio, if they want to call you in, you're kind of contractually obligated in quotations. But if you can also negotiate. There's certain ways around it to where they're not as ironclad. Like
I thought they were
saying.
I thought they were
not really.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean they can't really do anything to you because, like, if you leave mid-production of something, then they actually have grounds to do something because you're delaying production. But if he's saying, "I'm not coming back for the second season,"
right,
and production hasn't started yet, there's no issues there.
A great example of this is Back to the Future.
Right.
Michael J. Fox, like the producer of Family Ties, they came to him. They're like, "Look, we want Michael to do this movie," and that was the deal. Is that Michael's agent said, "You got to go through him because of his contract." And he's like, I can't show Mike this. And he's like, "What do you mean you can't show Mike this?" He's like, "Look, if I show Mike this, he's going to want to do it. Right. And I can't afford to have him leaving this next season because Meredith Baxter Birney was pregnant at the time. So Michael J. Fox was basically carrying the show." And he's like, "There's no way this kid can shoot, that many hours a day plus go to the movie." Well, and as things went on, Spielberg talked to the studio. They hired, what's his face instead, Eric Stoltz. And they gave him the guarantee that if Stoltz didn't work out, they would try to work out something with Michael J. Fox or somebody else in the future. Well, it just so happened that when they wasted that much time shooting with Eric Stoltz, they got to the point where there was a little lull in the schedule for Family Ties. He's like, "I'll let you have him, but it's up to Michael because he's going to be working practically like 20-hour days at a point here because they're still shooting, and they had I think they were shooting a special and all this other stuff at the same time." So he's like, "I'll let him do it, but it's up to Michael because he's going to be working constantly."
Gotcha.
So I mean, at that point, like if Michael J. Fox would have been like, "Yeah, I want to do Back to the Future," and left Family Ties, NBC probably would have had legal grounds to go after him. But if it had happened in between seasons, like Script is saying, there's probably not much they could have done. Like they could have renegotiated maybe, but at that
Makes
point,
sense.
But that, he didn't really like, it was one of those things where it's like, this guy's going to work 20 hours a day. And he literally did. He worked, except for one day a week on Family Ties where he shot on Back to the Future all day long on Sundays.
Gotcha.
He would go from the studio to studio and boom, boom, boom. And sleep for about 5 hours in the car.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we didn't get a sequel to Back to the Future, aside from the fact that they weren't really intending on it right away, was Family Ties didn't wrap yet.
Gotcha.
Between that and Roger Rabbit took longer than they were planning to.
Yeah. There's a whole Bob Gale was writing like a storm trying to get some stuff done.
Well, I like that. Get to learn the history about it. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. So contracts are made to be broken in Hollywood. That's kind of what they're all about. So like,
I mean,
yeah.
The thing is, like, if you break a contract and it's in between seasons, that's fine. If you break a contract in the middle of it, that's when money gets involved. So yeah, you got to be kind of. There's a little bit of sensitivity regarding it, but again, it's like quitting a job. If you give enough notice, the company will be fine.
But how can it be okay if you've established a character with this actor? It seems you've invested all that time and money. You go, I don't want another actor. That's why we contracted with you.
Well, and that's where you negotiate into the schedule, right? And I think the only time that the studio would have any kind of pull there would be the instance I can think of is the Jamie Lee Curtis one. And that's where she had in her contract buried for Halloween H2O was she has to be in a sequel. Well, she didn't know there was going to be a sequel. And when they decided they were going to make a sequel, they had tapped her to be in it. And she's like, no. And they're like, okay, well, we'll see you in court. And they went through, I don't know if they ever made it all the way to court. I know they went through arbitration, and I think it may have gotten to a point, but like in the end, they gave her like twice the amount she was supposed to get, and she got killed in the first 5 minutes. So basically negotiated down to that.
Gotcha.
And then there's also like the situation with John Carpenter, when he didn't want to have anything to do with Halloween 2, and he literally sued into writing that, for instance. And that was because of a contractual obligation kind of thing.
And that's the type of contracts where they've been paid up front first. So for instance, let's say you have a contract with an actor, it's a 3-year contract, and they pay him out in advance of all those 3 years. He is legally obliged to do those 3 years, unless he's willing to return some of the money for the years he's going to be absent of. So in most cases, they don't do that with talent anymore. With films, They sometimes do. With John Carpenter, when he sold Halloween, he got paid in advance for Halloween 2. With Jamie Lee Curtis, when she did H2O, she got paid in advance as well.
Well, and I think another part was he actually made like a contract, like a verbal contract with Irwin Young Blondes for Halloween 2, The Fog, and Escape from New York. And he reneged on that deal.
Oh, yeah, for the 3-picture deal part.
Yeah, and he went to Embassy instead, and that's why he got stuck in it. It was his own fault, right? Because it was a situation where there was enough. I don't know if there was enough paper trail or whatever it was to where it was technically not something he could legally have done without. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I found that here where it says where they started every day. Did you want to say something? Sorry, I didn't.
No, we got Jolly joining us, aka Snowdub. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, hey, I just got back from the strip club, and I saw you were streaming. I thought we might stream tonight after the new Halloween movie, Tom.
We might be, actually. I found out that dropped already. I wasn't expecting it till later, but we might do that. I know Six really wanted to talk about it too, but we're about to lose George here, so he's going to point out some part of this Hollywood Reporter business, and I think I know the quote he's talking about. It's the one that Andre told me. He's like, in the video, put one of the Cenobites like Pinhead in the background because it sounds like something from Hellraiser.
Well, you have the one where they're talking about what I was asking Script earlier. Have you ever heard of anybody? It sounded like a PR stunt because they announce it in every article interview. They announce it anytime they did these press junkets in India and Mexico and Los Angeles. Except here, they don't say it in Elvis. They say the showrunners famously start every day in the writer's room with a Tolkien quote. And that's actually what some of the cast members said. Like when you speak to them, they'll talk to you in Elvish and they'll start every day that way. And they know Tolkien in and out. Where is the other one? And I just wanted to ask again, is that a PR stunt? Or okay.
If it's not a PR stunt, they actually do it. It's a very humorous one because it's the one quote that actually has Payne's name in it.
Right.
Like it's just like, oh, it's got my name in it. It must be a good quote. Even though spelling is different.
I'll tell you one award that this show better not win is best hair and makeup because I'm sick of looking at these hardfoots with the alfalfa and cotton growing out here.
There's that, but it reminds me of like Hitchcock used to do a thing at the beginning of his production. I don't think he did every day, but he did at the beginning of production, which is nobody says anything outside of this studio. Mm-hmm. Because he always did like, horror films with not really so much twists, but he just didn't want people to be spoiled by it.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to liken themselves to Hitchcock in that regard, because I would not put it past JJ acolytes to sort of sponge off of existing directors and their legacy and habits to try and make themselves feel like they're good. It reminds me of seeing like amateur filmmakers, writers, and directors. They before they present their project, they're like, "Let's do the lion face, lemon face thing." And it's like, really, you're quoting that stuff? And you'd see it more often than you want. You see it as often as like an actor doing a monologue from Fight Club during an audition. It's just so boring and derivative.
I found it. I found one of the quotes. Yeah, here it is. It goes when they're explaining what they did wrong. They go, one of the big things we learned was even when it's a small scene, it always has to tie back to the larger stakes. No. There are things that didn't work as well in season 1 that might have worked in a smaller show. I don't know. I'm like,
that was in that other thing I read too. Yeah.
In a smaller show? No, they said they wanted to make it bigger, that it was small. But here they're saying the opposite.
I don't know what anything that they did would work in any type of show. That's the thing. It's like, give me one example. Salad. Don't just talk in abstracts. Give me just one example of something that you think would work better in a smaller show. Like what the bastard child talking with his dad that he doesn't know is his dad. The Don Lemonor. Like that I don't see that working in a smaller show if they're keeping it in the same context.
But look, Script, what they're saying. So in the one that we just read with Tom, and then the one that we did from, what was the name of that? It was called Digital Spy. It says one of the things that we learned was even when it's a small scene, it always has to tie back into larger stakes. So here, one of the big things we learned is even when it's a small scene, it has to tie back into the larger stakes. But there are things that didn't work as well in season 1 that might have worked in a small show. And McKay agrees. It has to be about good and evil and the fate of the world. So back around into like this circular logic of J.J. Abrams, just make it everything bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Is that all that they're going for? It's like bigger.
That's all JJ does. He makes things bigger. The first Star Trek he did, it's the Enterprise versus the Narada. The Narada is like 14 times the size of the Enterprise. And then Into Darkness, it's the Enterprise versus another Enterprise, which is like 3 times the size of the Enterprise. Like it's all superficial. He doesn't understand what bigger means. Bigger doesn't necessarily mean literal bigger. It just means maybe the stakes are
like
higher.
Star Killer, yeah.
Oh,
like it's all the same kind of shit. And
Star Killer
maybe
it's Death Star, but it's the size of a planet instead of a moon.
Exactly. Yeah, it's JJ's MO.
You can destroy 5 at once instead of 1.
The thing that I find amazing about them is when you go back to February and you see their very first interviews, what you find out is when they were asked, is this going to be a prequel to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings? No. We love him. We honor him. But no. As time went on and the criticism kept building, now all you hear is it's a prequel to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. It's like everything points that they're saying is to their own failure.
Well, and I don't know if here's the thing, and I still haven't been able to get to the bottom of it all. There was some checks written to Warner Brothers and New Line. They're listed as producers. I think it has more to do with just in a couple of designs. I think they ended up buying the rights to a few characters is what happened.
From Weta? You're talking about from Weta and
No,
Warner?
from New Line and Warner.
Yeah, the Balrog.
It was more than just that.
Oh, it is?
I think it was more than just that.
Okay.
I think it's Gandalf. I think it's a few other characters. I'm not convinced here that they haven't found a way to finagle this whole thing.
With what? I know Jackson's not working with him.
No, he's not. But there's been...
Well, money talks and BS walks.
That's so just it. I heard some big checks were written. Sorry.
Okay.
They can. Like, I would not be surprised if one of the Harfoots ends up being the ancestor to the Frodo Baggins family.
Jesus.
Well, I can almost guarantee you because her name is
well, that's Brandyfoot, and that's
Brandyfoot.
Yeah, but that's tied to Merry and Pippin Brandybuck. But they've turned them.
But they're also related to Frodo and Bilbo. So
they are, but it's just very odd. It's like they've taken, again, if we go to that, they've taken character. They've created. I don't know if the right word is homage. No, I don't say homage. What is the right word? It's like where you're copying someone. They're copying Jackson's, but they're shadows of his copy. It's not an homage.
Well, I mean, they might try and use the word homage for that, but it's not really what it is.
It's not really what it is.
More like carbon copy. That's what
you're
right, but a shadow of a
has value.
Yeah, but a shadow of Jolly's onto it, but it's a shadow of a carbon copy. It's not like a good carbon copy.
It's like a carbon copy of that carbon copy, really. And then just add some lens flare.
I mean, it's really like a hollow mimic, I guess, maybe.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like hollow mimic works.
It's like a
lackadaisical, maybe.
Lackadaisical, but wow.
Well, lackadaisical just almost sounds like you did it on accident, maybe. Like this almost seems like, well, then again, they think they're doing it right. So
listen, with the way some of the writing teams have been having some of these IPs, any success that they have from that is an accident, and
absolutely
the rest is just a failure. Kiki Wilson suggests pastiche. Would pastiche be?
Kind of. It kind of falls in that area, but unfortunately for me, I think pastiche actually, in some cases, is considered canon still. So that I don't know.
And you know what's interesting is that which I didn't realize, they're signing deals for new movies while Rings is going on. I didn't know. I've been researching them, and one of them is called. This is their take on a true story. It's called Escape, and it's supposed to be a thriller. It's basically a true story. It's kind of like Papillon, except I think it's in the 18th century. I'll tell you, yes, it's when wrongly accused Greenhill, the true story, is shipped to the harshest Tasmanian penal colony in 1820s. So it's about a bunch of prisoners. And their spin on it is to add cannibalism and zombies. I was like, wow, isn't that old?
Oh, that reminds me of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Abraham Lincoln,
Vampire Hunter,
or
like it just like that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't find them to have that. Look, Script, what you did a second ago. You took a moment and you corrected everything wrong with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who in a moment. That's
I mean, I came up with the idea like 2.5 years ago, and I think I did it either, if it wasn't on MEAD stream, it was probably maybe Bounding in the Comics or Working News podcast, maybe. But regardless, writing is problem solving. And if you're given a thing where it's like, okay, you have a series, people aren't watching these seasons of a show, we really need to start making money off of those seasons. What can you do now that will make the stuff that happened in those seasons worthwhile of investment? It's like, well, got to watch them. Got to find what ideas were used that are interesting and how can I bring those back and do it again. And it's the same type of formula that the guys over at Cobra Kai did with the Karate Kid trilogy. How did they make Karate Kid 3 have far more of an impact than it did originally? Well, they wove in Terry Silver. They wove in Mike Barnes. They did brilliantly by making Amanda's cousin the girl from Karate Kid 3, so that you actually have some meaning from that. Like, that's how you do a good sequel series
without it making feeling convoluted. Yeah, sorry.
Without feeling convoluted, but at the same time, you take a look at the relationship between Karate Kid 3 and Cobra Kai, and you actually have a very interesting structure with regards to a prequel, because all of the important things that happen in Karate Kid 3 are ancillary to what's happening in the show. It's its own story, but all the side things are setups for things that built that universe. Like if you want to do a Star Wars prequel, sure, your target goal is to have the rise of the Empire and the fall of Anakin Skywalker, but you need to have a group of other subset stories that feel as big as the original trilogy, but don't have any direct impact on the original trilogy. It has to be its own story as well. And that was kind of partly, Lucas didn't quite land that as a way. When we're dealing with Star Trek Discovery, when we're dealing with the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings Rings of Power does not know what it's trying to do.
Okay.
I mean, the first season is what? Oh, we're going to create Mordor.
Right.
That's basically it. It's like, really, you don't need to tell us that story as a focal point. That could be, tell us another story that's far more interesting, that's far more relevant to these brand new characters that we're seeing, and save Mordor for later. Don't rush to it. Don't try and focus it as a goal or a surprise reveal. Just tell a really good story, and as you build that world, slowly seed in things that we'll recognize in the subsequent films that are to follow it.
Like, it should have been in the prologue, the whole war. I mean, Mordor wasn't built that way anyway by Morgoth. I don't know why they did. It's like that's what I mean by canon mistakes. Like they've changed so much stuff that they've pulled it out of order. I mean, to the point where I only have one problem with this Variety cover, which I don't, and it's not with Variety, it's with Nielsen. You have Cobra Kai topping everyone, but they're not counting HBO's cable viewers. They're only counting the
well,
HBO
and that's
Max.
Understandable, but we understand that. But yeah, you're right. Like as far as the general person
public
looking at this, yeah, right, exactly. And yeah, not to jump ahead here, but there's other stories, and I don't know how much longer you got now.
I got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I figured as much. But yeah, this show, let's put House of Dragon aside because we do know that's doing very well on HBO. Yeah. But Cobra Kai just fucking demolished everything, it looks like here. And especially Rings of Power. And that has slipped according to this as well. And,
it doubled it, didn't it? It doubled its minute.
I believe it did.
I saw the tag. It was like 1900.
Over 1,000 more minutes, actually. Yeah. So more than double. Yeah. And look at how House of Dragon is hanging in there. And this isn't even counting, like you said. HBO. This doesn't even count HBO. So this is catching up to it now. Because remember, the last time we got these ratings, it was behind it.
Right, but again, that's because those guys, they took the premiere and
they doubled up on it. Yeah,
and they doubled, and it was one verse. I was like, what am I? Yeah.
2 episodes versus one. Yeah.
Right.
But again, the only reason we're not getting the cable on this is they're just focusing primarily on the streaming function of it.
Right, but
you roll those numbers in, HBO Max and HBO for House of the Dragon. I think it's way closer towards Cobra Kai's Netflix than
it could actually arguably be beating Cobra Kai. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Script, you're honest on that.
Entirely possible. Yeah.
Well, you could tell because everybody's watching Game of Thrones again, which means there's probably new viewers that are interested in the series now.
Exactly, like as you point out here, for those right here, the original Game of Thrones jumped back in big time.
Wow.
So yeah, like I mean, that's on the heels of the new show, and there's a lot of people. I'm not sure on that one, but it seems to be doing very well for Netflix. But yeah, here's some more numbers here. We've got Cobra Kai again.
She-Hulk at the bottom.
The list. Here's House of Dragon taking the top of the list though. These are acquired programs now. So in the acquired programs, it's topping out with Game of Thrones, the original, coming in just below it. So there you go. It's beating out things now like Grey's Anatomy and Big Bang Theory, which are big, and NCIS and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Those are big restreamers, and Gilmore Girls and Friends are too. Yeah. This is a newer show, Bluey, but I've been hearing a lot of things about this one. So Disney Plus evidently has a hit with that there. So there you go.
Oh, that.
And then Thor: Love and Thunder. Look how poorly that did for Disney Plus, but not much better than Pinocchio even. Ooh, ouch. Morbius is hanging in there.
Wow.
Even better than Despicable Me 2. I think Minions just dropped, so that'll probably be dominating the thing next week, I bet. Because I see that's on Peacock now. But tonight, speaking of Peacock, Halloween is dropping. It already has. And like Jolly, aka Snowdub, pointed out there, I think we're going to talk about it tonight. So
you mean
2 to 3 hours. Yeah, the new Halloween ends.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's already on Peacock. So,
is it a series or movie?
No, this is a third part of the new movies.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a trilogy. It's the last one.
Unfortunately,
I've heard some bad news about it already, so I'm a little squirmish to go into this, but hopefully it's still good.
I had the same thing with Halloween Kills and ended up liking. I think that's one of the reasons I liked it more than
right.
But I'm glad to see Cobra Kai doing well. But unfortunately, they haven't yet announced a season 6. They haven't signed on for season 6. And check out our Cobra Kai video on why that may be. But yeah, that bothers me. But we did get some other news out of Netflix. We now know how much the ad-based version of Netflix is going to be when it kicks off here soon, and it is going to be $7 a month. So there you go, kids, if you're curious about that.
That's the starting price Netflix was when they launched.
I know, isn't it weird? I said the same thing, Script.
Wait a minute. You mean if you want ads, it's $7?
Well, if you want it, yeah, because now otherwise it's like $19.99 a month. For like, yeah, it's. Or I think the lowest one is like 14 or something like that. But
isn't Disney moving to that model as well?
Yeah, they're doing the same kind of thing. But I think theirs is going to be even cheaper.
HBO Max is probably going to have the most competitive prices in comparison. I think.
And rightly so, because Cobra Kai is constantly just giving us great content, and I have yet to be disappointed by that series. So
agree.
And for those who want some nightmare fuel, here you go.
Nah.
It's Flounder.
Oh God!
The new Little Mermaid.
I wouldn't even.
Can they get their money back?
Who would even eat that fish?
I was gonna say that's the play of fish from McDonald's, I think.
Yeah, I would actually eat one of those ugly fishes before I'd eat that thing, or the sad, grumpy fish. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you sure it's not one of from Wakanda Forever, one of Namor's family members?
Right.
He might make an appearance.
Oh my God, that's Aunt Lupe. She sells fish tacos down by the.
That's Aunt
Lupe. I mean, have y'all seen how ridiculous Namor looks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna cosplay as it when he comes out. Of course, dressing me up in that outfit, I'm gonna look like 10 pounds of chorizo in a 2-pound bag. But we're gonna get
so hit on by so many gay men. It's not even funny.
I already ordered the green. Did I tell you, Tom? I ordered on Amazon. I got a green earrings and a green plastic nose ring.
The bone in the nose thing.
Oh Lord!
Did you get the hammock? The green hammock that Namor wears?
No, but no, but I did find some satin shorts, some green satin like shorty shorts.
Oh, geez.
And then you gotta wear the oil. You gotta cover your body in oil so it looks like you just stepped out of the water.
Oh my God.
Oh jeez.
That is a great idea. I should get like spray suntan oil so I glisten.
Oh shit.
Arjun one, you're right. Cthulhu and Ariel had a kid. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Let's get some of these super chats here. Lord Kamina 2 says, if you want new superhero, check out Chainsaw Man. Never heard of Chainsaw Man.
No,
oh yeah, that's the manga.
Yeah,
is it
the anime?
Really
yeah,
I think it's on Hulu.
It's got a chainsaw. It's got a demon, I think, bound to him. Like he goes after bad guys, and whenever he does, this chainsaw comes out of his head. And
the anime community is really freaking out about it, saying it's awesome. So I'm actually interested in it. I don't even watch anime that much.
Yeah. Sounds like something from Army of Darkness or Evil Dead.
Kind of a combination.
Zontar says, can't chat tomorrow due to work. If Paul's on, tell him Penske bought Indianapolis and the in real life IRL, I don't know what he means by that, in 2019 Cart won the war. He'll know what it means. Okay, I'll pass that along to him. Thank you for that, Zontar. Then we got Alf again, who says, Tom, it took me a while, but I found the perfect anime to watch. One Punch Man. It's about a superhero that is too strong that all his enemies die in one punch, but keep looking for a challenge. He is also bald, so you can look at yourself in the character for bald representation. I am somewhat familiar with One Punch Man, Alf, but go ahead. Looks like you're going to say something.
Well, I just wonder where Alf's been. I haven't seen him on the Cotton Council in a while, and we miss you, Alf. You need to come on back, even though Mexican Iron Man doesn't really want you there. So, but yeah, good to see you, Alf.
But it looks like George has to take off on us. Thank you so much, George, for spending some time with us again. We miss you.
Oh, God, I miss you.
We're glad to get you today, so thank you for being.
Thank you. Oh, I can't hear you.
I think he muted himself a little early.
Oh, sorry about that. I do that sometimes. But yeah, go ahead and tell the folks about your channel and anything you got coming up real quick before you head out.
Well, you can find me on George the Giant Slayer on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and on Mondays, you can find me on Base Staff Mondays with Adam Krigler. And now, actually, on Tuesdays, Adam and I are also streaming. And then hopefully come back here on Midnight's Edge. God, I've missed you guys. And then I go also either Monday or Thursdays when I can to Comics Division. I'll be probably putting out a video, 1 or 2 videos this weekend. Either tomorrow, I'm still working on it, and Sunday. Other than that, it's great to be back. Great to see. Oh, and Nina Infinity. Almost forgot. I was going to. And Nina Infinity on Sunday night.
Yeah,
awesome.
All right.
Well, tell Adam we said hey, and yes, hopefully we get to talk again soon.
Thanks for coming, brother.
Thank you, brother. Everybody.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
Mr. Tickletrunk lets us know that Gonzalo Bergali has gifted 5 Midnight's Edge After Dark memberships. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. That is a huge help here at the channel. Then we got Mecha J, who says script has a point. Look at Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
Don't. Oh my God! Don't look at Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
I've heard. Yeah. Blade Ribbon says, how about that impending death of Cartoon Network?
It's being consolidated into Warner Brothers Animation. I think that's a good move, personally.
I think this will be around for a little while, but you could be right. In the next decade or so, it could be a thing of the past. Then we got Warachi here, who says, George, oh shoot, I wish I would have got this when he was here. Rings of Powers have been whining about folk like us. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Stop commenting, just an adaptation, and the usual istophobe comments. And to stay in our lane. I tell them this is our lane, buckle up. Well, that's the thing. And, I'm somebody who, I won't go out of my way on Twitter to fuck with somebody, but if somebody's going to come up in one of my threads and fuck with me, oh, hell yeah. That's when the guns come out. But yeah, that's the best thing I can say is don't go out of your way to fuck with them. But if they come in your house, I guess you got to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I tuned out of this show. I haven't watched it in 3 or 4 weeks now. I just can't.
Oh,
yeah.
So lucky you.
I only watched 20 minutes of the first episode, and that was it. So, Does this dress make my ass look big? Sends in another $20. Thank you so much, you guys. You're very generous tonight. In fact, for that, I'm going to show a clip here in a bit, since I'm sure we'll get a claim for it. Forgive me for resurrecting a conversation from last week, but I keep missing the live stream. For a sci-fi book to TV, I would love to see Sector General series, James White, kind of Grey's Anatomy in space with aliens. I'm not familiar with that one.
Neither am I, but I do like that concept.
I'm gonna say you've got Script Doctor's attention.
Sector General, James White.
Yeah, something you should check into Script. There you go. Well, there you go. Maybe you started something with that. You want to be starting something, got to be starting something. Professor Gray says, how much money can Amazon afford to lose on this? All of it.
Well, they made a lot of money over the pandemic, So
I was going to say this, as far as, and we've said this on the morning show too, Professor Gray, as far as the company as a whole, this is a blip. As far as Amazon Studios, that's a different story, right, Mike?
Yep, that's a very different story. Heads shall roll and budgets may be reduced, and that's a very Amazon as a company burns cash. This is nothing. It's a blip on the screen. What's more interesting is that
we got to correct yourself, Mike. We did the math that you cannot burn cash as fast.
I was about to say that. Yeah, exactly right.
As what Rings of Power does on screen, to be honest with you, because it actually takes overnight. We've done the math. Remember, Pablo Escobar. Yeah.
Yep. Scary, huh?
He could only burn like $2 million overnight. Yep. These motherfuckers are doing that in a minute and then some.
It's it's $1.01 million.
You did the math, yeah.
Yeah, 1.012 million per minute.
That's fucking insane.
That's ridiculous. And I came in as a Peter Jackson fan first. I loved his horror movies before he was really known. And I really liked The Lord of the Rings. I really enjoyed the movies. I even enjoyed The Hobbits. And when I saw this, I couldn't watch it. It was just pure garbage, guys. And I feel sorry for you Tolkien fans out there. I really do.
Well, I mean, I know every movie and every television show is a huge production. It takes a lot of money. But when I hear that kind of money being burnt, it makes me think of all the kids that can be fed, all the houses that could be built. All this stuff that these people claim to be a big part of. It's like, maybe instead of making a shitty show like this, you should have spent that $1 billion on doing those things. Put your money where your mouth is. You claim to be such socialists and all that shit.
Build infrastructure so that people can actually pull themselves out of poverty and buy stuff again. I mean, investments in stuff is useful, but again, I don't want to abuse of it.
$1 billion fucking spent on a shit show, literally a shit show.
A show which I guarantee you, as I said before, you get an audit on that show, you will not find $1 billion truly spent on it.
Oh, fuck no. There was a lot of greased wheels and pocketed. And
do you know how many high dollar prostitutes I could get with that? I mean,
they could probably tell you how many high dollar prostitutes you could get with that.
I bet you could probably get the best prostitute with that.
Yes.
They can probably tell you exactly.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a week.
And Mikey will tell you that shit comes through as entertainment and
Well, it depends on Mexican Iron Man. It's either under my travel and entertainment budget, or when Mexican Iron Man's taking the lead, it could be foreseen as my marketing expense, if you know what I mean.
Marketing expense, medical insurance, per diem.
Get creative.
right?
No, seriously. Craft services. I've seen it done for craft services.
You get very creative, yes.
I like my craft service.
Phoenix has his own private craft services company.
Mental health and well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's lots of ways.
Massages,
yeah.
Personal
trainers or personal masseuse. Yep.
Right.
Then Mr. Took-a-Trunk says Rings of Power season 1 is so bad. How bad is it? The article had to praise a season that doesn't even exist yet. That the news outlets is trying to mystery box us. Yes, you are correct, Mr. Tickletrunk. That is hilarious. Hilarious, sir. We got Duck Nation, who says that Mike Shank, co-star of the documentary American Movie, has died at age 56. I tried to verify this, Duck Nation. I cannot. The one story that came out, I went to it. It is no longer there. I hope that is not true, but if it is, I am sad because, he was a very funny and endearing gentleman, it seemed like. And I've seen American Movie and some of their other films they've done, and being from Wisconsin myself, I hope this isn't true, but if it is, that's sad to hear that he was only 56 as well. So a local musician and independent actor, and worked with the filmmakers of many independent horror films in the area. So hope that's not true, because that's sad if it is. Then we got, does this make my ass look big? Says, does this dress make my ass look big? Sorry. Hey everyone, do you think they are heading for a love triangle in Rings of Power between Galadriel, MIA, Celeborn, and Hellebrand? I don't know enough about the show to go here, but probably.
I don't even want to watch it, so I couldn't tell you.
I am mentally struggling just to stay awake during this show. There is no ounce of me that can mentally masturbate about where this plot is going like I would on any other film. you know that when we have those conversations, hey guys, what do you think is gonna happen in the new episode where this the doohickey with the dada? Do you think they're gonna find the dada, or are they gonna find the doobie doo? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I think the doobie doo. Yeah, I think the doobie doo more than the dada. No, fuck this show. You can't even go there.
Yeah. Jack White says, I just sent you an email with a couple of links, one to an old TV promo and the other to a trailer for an old movie. I'd like to see you guys react to them. All right, well, let's see. I'll see how long they are. While I'm going to check those out, here's this special treat for y'all. And this is why you should be watching Beavis and Butthead. So for those on the panel and in the chat who have not seen the recent episode of Beavis and Butthead and don't want a spoiler, here's your warning. But this is actually a cut scene for them reacting to a YouTube video anyway. And I almost passed out. I was laughing so hard at this. I'm surprised the cops weren't called on me. How loud I was laughing. This has got to be one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen in my life.
Let's roll.
It is 3 minutes of fucking glory, and I don't care about the copyright claim. Here we go.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, what's this show called? This is Ghosted. So is there a ghost on that chair? No. That dude there, he ghosted her, and so now they're gonna find out why, and then work it out or something, or settle it in the cage or something.
Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you spend the holidays with me? I was your girlfriend.
Boy, she must have done something really bad for him to ghost her. Yeah, she probably killed his dog and slapped his mom and stuff, even then though, I still don't think I'd ghost her, Butthead. Yeah, this better be good. We gotta pay attention.
The real reason I ghosted you, Giovanna, is because you're a sex addict.
What?
Uh-oh. Well, what's her number?
Wait a second. Whoa. It almost sounded like he said she wants to have sex too much, and that's why he broke up with her. That can't be right.
Girl, you're like a rabbit. You just...
Wait, he is! He is complaining!
You're pathetic.
What?
You're for real pathetic.
He's complaining about that? This is the dumbest dude I've ever seen in my life. Oh, he's not just dumb, Butthead.
I'm gonna have to side with...
He's a lousy son of a bitch! Yeah. He sure is. How dare he! I mean, some of us, like me, don't have any sex, ever. And he's sitting there with his man bun, Complaining about having too much sex? Jesus Christ.
Multiple times a day, every day.
I don't know what number multiple is, but it's better than 0.
Exactly.
There's starving kids in poor countries, and they probably get to score, but I don't. And look at this guy. Who does he think he is?
For once, I'm not going to say settle down, Beavis. You're absolutely right.
I hate him. I hate
Preach,
him,
Beavis, preach.
Shut up, you
Kick his ass.
butt monkey!
Lousy son of a bitch. Teach him a lesson.
There you go. You don't want to score? Well, how about not scoring with some of this?
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's how you take care of that.
I'll teach him a lesson.
That was cool.
Sorry. I just really hated him, butthead,
We don't have a TV anymore.
Wow.
Why not?
Whoops.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's
I love how he went after the man bun too.
what's sad is he's absolutely right. That was just appalling. I couldn't believe it.
For once, I'm not going to tell you to settle down, Beavis, because you're absolutely correct.
But I do expect to hear something like that out of a guy with a man bun. So that was great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Oh God, I almost fell out of my fucking chair
Wow.
when I was watching that last night. I just couldn't.
Ruined his
Couldn't do
TV. Yeah.
Oh,
Next episode, they're going to have to
shit.
go shopping for a new TV.
Oh, they'll steal one.
And
from
now
the
they have
stand or
Beavis and Butthead Do America Again, because that was also about music TV.
They still didn't do Beavis and Butthead do the world. So
There you go.
okay, so we've got from Jack White here. He sent us some trailers. Oh, I'm crying again. That was so fucking.
There's children starting around. I don't know what that number is, but it's more than 0.
0.
Wow.
It just his eyeballs all bugged out and shit. Son of a bitch. Oh shit. Okay, so this is Yu Yu Hakusho season 1 promo, and it sounds like Peter Cullen doing the voiceover. So here we go.
On the road of life, second chances are rare. Watch out, kid! But for Yusuke Urameshi, fate has intervened.
This is weird.
You have all that's required to be detective of the spirit world.
That's a fancy title.
Between the world of the living and the realm of the dead, he is both champion and protector. Yu Yu Hakusho premieres Monday, March 3rd at 6.
Now die.
Only Toonami.
There you go. Oh. It's all right.
I don't get really what it's about, but the animation looks nice.
Yeah, the animation don't look bad.
I like hearing Optimus Prime doing the dialogue there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is Peter Cullen. Watch the show that I'm not in.
Classic
Or maybe
voice.
he is in it. Who knows?
Maybe I am. You don't know. And then this one's like this one's one we got to read. So we got to pay attention, I guess. But this one is Psycho Pass.
密入国してきた外国人テロリストグループ。その脳内記憶には3年前に逃亡した元執行官の姿。君なら見間違えることはないだろう。
公安局刑事課だ。
なんだあいつら、戦い慣れている。
鴻上信也が完全に犯罪者になったのではないかと考えてる。密入国の経路も判明した。シーアンだ。
ようこそ。我々はあなたとシビラシステムを歓迎します。
シャンバラフロートの管理トップはシビラシステム。
逮捕します、鴻上さん。
まさかこんなところまでやってくるなんてな。
彼らにとってシビラシステムの本体は海の向こうのブラックボックスだ。
こんなやり方で何が変わるって言うんです？彼らは鴻上さんを牧島と同じ場所に祭り上げてしまうかもしれない。
常森監視官にこれ以上余計な重荷を背負わせるんじゃない。どうする監視官、俺を止めるか見逃すか、どっちかだ。あのやり口は軍の連中とは違う。お前にはアジテーターの素質が。
この国の民衆が我々を拒むと、
シビラという檻の中で飼いならされるか、あるいは檻の外で弱肉強食の法則に身を委ねるか。
何が守るに値するか、それは自分の意志で決めるものよ。
Okay. Yeah, see, I think if I was going to watch either of them, it'd probably be the first one we watched.
Yeah, that was not a good trailer representing what that show could be.
Yeah, that just was a lot of
too jumbled.
Noise and
I don't know who the main character is. There's something about a brain in a box, a civil box. Like, sorry, no, that is incoherent, but the animation is cool. If someone can cut together a proper trailer, which basically is a setup, give me a setup. Who's the guy we're following? Who's the person they're against? And why?
Plus,
that would probably sell it better.
Well, there's a little bit of loss of translation for me because I'm always used to the English dubbed versions of anime. So when I hear it in Japanese and read, the subtitles to it, it's in a different language, different culture. So it's still kind of hard to follow along. But there was some great art in there, some really good animation. So it might look good, when you watch it. But
I feel like
it was terrible.
I feel like I'm giving it like the college try. I'm going to give it another try this fall. Once I get into the holidays, this anime thing, I kind of started experimenting with it a little bit this past year.
Check out Ninja Scroll, Mexican Iron Man. I think that.
Well, I've got a whole laundry list of shit to watch. But let me finish my thought. Yeah. Hold on. My thought is this: is that to me, anime is a lot like spinach. It's probably good for me, but it's just not on my top 10 list ever.
Yeah.
But I'm trying.
Brett Cohen says craft services. That must be one hell of a spread. Well, you got to watch out for the secret sauce, Brett.
Oh, if you're spending that much money, there is no secret sauce.
And then you got Mega J who says Mike Judge outdid himself with that. Yeah, that's just a taste of the shit, guys. Like, I mean, that's probably the funniest thing in the whole thing, but I don't know. There's some other stuff that's really, really good this season. Like this is.
I'm really liking the stuff that they're. Beavis has really been actually the character that's kind of grown the most since the original series.
It's not so much growth, but it's just he's gotten more to do without it being a bunch of I am Cornholio. Like the one time he was in it, it was like done and over with real quick, and it was kind of funny because the security guard of the school just tackled him, and that was it.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole the girl that was interested in him, I love the fact that he didn't get it, but there's something going on with Beavis to the point where Mike Judge is.
That's that episode.
I think it has to do with also the movie where Mike Judge is saying, out of these two kids, Beavis is going to be the first one to score one day in the future.
Yeah. But other than that, no, they haven't changed one bit. And I mean, that clip I just showed you there is a prime example that they're still the same two guys they always were. And Beavis is a little bit more unhinged, of course. But and that's why you're right, though, too. He also had the fire episode, which is like really an episode all by himself, which is strange. We've never gotten that before.
And even the Jesus Nacho was very Beavis-y.
That one, too. But not only that, you had the other episode where he the doppelganger one, where it was almost Beavis through the whole episode by himself, but with the doppelganger butthead that he couldn't get away from.
Yeah.
That one was hilarious. That's what I'm saying. This season is full of like all these episodes are like as good or better than some of the best episodes of, the best seasons of the classic Beavis and Butthead, which is like, season 2 through like 4, 5. Well, the whole show was great. Like that's the sad part is Mike knew when to end the show. Like he knew that this was it where we need to take a break for a while. The movie did well. We'll end on a high note. It was like, yeah. So anyway, I don't know if everybody's been keeping up with it, but you should if you haven't already. It's an amazing season so far, and I believe it's finished now with the 12 episodes until next season. So Then Jack White says that second trailer was for a movie of Psycho-Pass. It was released 2 or 3 years ago, and the events of that take place after the first and second season. There you go, for those who are curious about that. Yeah, that one didn't sell it to me as much. The first one, I didn't mind the look of that one so much. That one looked a little bit more my speed, I guess is a better way of putting it. But with that, let's wrap this up, guys. I didn't really have anything else. We got through everything somehow, some way, and managed to end up on the other end alive. So I'm going to go watch Halloween Ends. And,
Hashtag me too.
And yeah, and then probably Snowdub and whoever else watches it between now and then will probably join me in a couple hours here on the channel, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I think Valiant Renegade's watching it. So yeah, of course, Mike, Script, you're more than welcome to join. I don't know if you're.
Oh no, I got 3 tax returns to do before 5 a.m.
Yeah, I've got to go back to writing again.
I didn't think Halloween was really either of your guys' things, but
I
Jack
like
White
the
also
first one a lot.
Yeah. Jack White says, and the main character of the first 2 seasons is the girl with the short brown hair. Well, there you go.
I don't remember the girl from the short brown hair in that trailer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they cut it too fast, buddy.
It was a very poorly cut trailer.
There's some good animation in there. We need a better trailer.
And yes, Bryant, we hit this earlier tonight too. Yep. Sounds like it's fairly done deal. Then check out Script Doctor's channel. Check out Snowdub's channel. You guys, I know Script's been playing a lot of gaming lately, so I'm assuming if anything, you got some more gaming coming up, if anything.
Well, just for my downtime in the interim, I'm got a lot of writing and stuff to do, so it's taking away potential editing time. Because I could use it to editing time, but if I stack it all up, I wouldn't get a video out till the end of December at this point.
No,
so it's
I hear you,
easier
brother.
To do some Q&As and some fun little gaming that's also kind of thematic to the month. So yeah, just
and it looks like I missed a super sticker. You're fired, Mike.
What? No, you can't fire me. I quit in between MEAD episodes.
No, if you quit, you don't get severance.
Well, I want to renegotiate my contract.
Nicholas Horton sent us in a Shiba Dog super sticker, and I didn't see it. Going back. Making sure I didn't miss any more around there. I thought I kept up with him pretty good tonight. Rings of Power. Professor Gray, we got that one. Afford to Lose, yeah. Wow, when did I miss this? I'm so sorry about this, Nicholas Horton. But in the meantime, Snow, do you have anything to plug?
Just probably come hang out with you again tonight and talk about Halloween. Can't wait for that. And every Saturday night, come hang out with the puppets. Cotton Council. A lot of crazy antics on Saturday night, so a lot of fun.
We actually missed a couple in here. That's what I was afraid of. Nicholas Horton sent us a super sticker. Sorry about that, and thank you for that. And Mr. Buttcrack Media as well. Good to see you. Also sent us in a super sticker. I can't see what it is now, sadly, but thank you for that. But otherwise, it looks like we're good. Okay, so just those pair I missed. Sorry about that. Oh, it's in the mod chat. I should have checked, D-Bud. Was there any, speaking of that, was there any member chats that I missed? I didn't even...
honest to God, I wasn't grabbing them like I normally do.
Nah, it's all right. I know you've been so busy and fucking worried about everything else.
I'm like,
we just got Gonzalo Bergali, it looks like. So it looks like we're good there. Thank you so much, mods, for keeping me up to speed. And Elf Jeebus, aka Monkey Jeebus. I don't know about MEAD Radio tonight since we've got Halloween Ends. That's gonna probably take up the rest of the night, and then we'll see. Because tomorrow's a morning show, and I got to be up for that too. So.
Yep.
All right, Mikey, anything you got coming on? I know you just did an unboxing video not too long ago. You got some Legos.
I did. And next weekend, anyway, if you're anywhere that you can get there, Mexican Iron Man will be in Dallas from next Friday to next Sunday. Go to my Twitter. You can register for free for one, some, or all of the festivities.
There you go. And yes, Buttcrack Media sends us a thumbs up, although I'm not so sure I trust where his thumb has been. Do click the thumbs up if you haven't already. We appreciate that. There's still almost 300 of you watching. And Elf Jeebus has also been a member for 3 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you for that, Elf Jeebus. We appreciate the support. And with that, as Andre likes to say,
well,